don't believe this, but you used to fit right here. I'd hold you up and say to your mother, this kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you every day. It was like a privilege. Then the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you.
From the terrifying universe of the inner mind to the outer reaches of the imagination, we're waiting, poised at the edge of our seats. Time stops as we approach the unknown. Just when we think we're safe, the moment happens, and we...
Saturday night, time for Gas Theater. Join me, Tom Labrie, for the best in late night fright.
Horror, suspense, mystery, science fiction, the supernatural. And now, sit back, relax if you can. You are about to enter the world of
NPC the game.
Yo, what's going on? NPC the game live from the back rooms of Taiwan. The real District 13 in Shaolin. Back at it. I'm excited. Back at it for a special broadcast. Let you know what's really going on with the big picture. You know, as we say, as above, so below. So below, as above. I gotta get right to it. I gotta say the theme so I get to my the honored guests we have today. Today's theme is Astrology World Predictions 2025, 2027. Oracle Alexander, USA, China, Russia, Taiwan, India, and all points in between. Ahimsa Alexander, are you here?
Yeah, hey, nice to see you. Nice to be here.
See you too. Yeah, we already got the chat buzzing saying what's up to the
That's
Oracle.
awesome. Hi, chat.
Yeah. Oh, chat.
Hi,
Yeah,
NPC.
yeah. Hey, how's it going?
everyone.
Good to see you. Hey, look at our friend Jack Talcott.
Hey, Jack.
I have to get it. Greetings,
Saw
blessings,
Gracie
and love
and
today.
Zephyr,
Gracie.
Leopard.
So what's up? Yeah. All the fabulous ladies. Oh man, we're so blessed over here at NPC the game. Yeah. Leopard, what's going on? Good to have you, sister. Zephyr, Markella, Lex. Always a pleasure. Yeah. Namaste. The fuck away. I love that. I love
Namaste. That. I like that one too.
The TF away. Yeah, that's how you feel sometimes, right? That's how we you get that energy sometimes. Oh yeah, let me run down real quick. Just a quick forecast. Of like what's the now? Let me ask you because you know different modalities of astrology, and you seem to be focusing on Vedic astrology lately, right?
Yeah. For the last 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are the planets in the same spot? Like
The planet,
as
that's a great, great question. The planets are in the same alignment.
mm-hmm,
The Jyotish, which is the technical term for the Vedic method, it has the way I'm reading a really good book called Light on Life right now. It's a great Western book for people who want to study the Vedic method, but the way that they calculate it's not tropical based on the sun per se, but it's based on points in the constellations. So the elliptic
mm,
plane, the mathematics is slightly different, and so when you transfer from tropical, which most Westerners are used to that, to the Vedic system, the Vedic signs are about 24 degrees behind. So when you look at
mm-hmm,
things like how you were talking the last 2 days about Saturn being in Aries, it's actually just moved into Pisces when you're doing the Vedic constellation. It is conjunct Neptune as well, which you'll see in Western, but
mm,
they're different. They're different. They
yeah,
have different flavors too. When you
they're
bring
different
in the
flavors. Yeah.
thing called nakshatras, which are like constellations, um, they give more flavor, like what we were talking the other night. Say like the moon is in Scorpio. Well, there's three different nakshatras for Scorpio. There's Anuraja, there's yours, which is Vishaka, that's your sun and your moon. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
Jesta, which is the very end. So you have different flavors,
Mm,
which people will notice, an early Taurus is different than, say, a latter Taurus. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in doing so, and especially with the medium of broadcasting, we could really pick out those tendencies. That's cool about I'm learning about the Vedic, is like the nuances, like really puts a
Mm.
name to kind of like the situations and the energy like they were dealing with. You know,
Right.
that's
Yeah. And like
fascinating.
2 nights ago, that's a thing to keep in mind when you are doing, say, like predictions, like with
Hmm.
someone like saying that they had a Gemini rising, but if you use Saturn in Aries, then that would
Hmm.
put Saturn moving through the 11th house. But if they're using Gemini rising in the Vedic system, then
Hmm.
that would put Saturn in Pisces in the 10th house. So they don't.
Oh, it's different.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
like
that makes sense. That makes sense.
the person who had Gemini rising, Saturn's actually moving through their 10th house versus their 11th. So
Hmm.
that was just slight differences so that people keep in mind that their rising
Yeah,
sign's going to be different, like your
yeah.
Aries rising. Hmm.
Right. And then depending on like because that's what I love about the astrology is it no matter what you're looking at, even if it's somebody
Hmm.
else's chart, I think I can get value out of it personally.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, because
yeah,
those themes are like some templates I can use. But that is different though. Like the 10th
yeah,
house of like of work, you know what I mean, of career status.
yeah.
Um Compared to like the 11th house, you know, like the networking
Hmm.
and all that type of stuff. Like, yeah, that is. I mean, they're kind of overlap for sure because they wouldn't be so close
Definitely,
together. But
definitely.
there's definitely something to be said about locking into where it actually is the location, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, and the mathematics behind it. And
yeah.
for example, say like my astrology teacher when I was in my early 20s, she's about 15 years older than me, and
Mm-hmm,
she's very good and adept at Western astrology.
mm-hmm.
Um, so we've had certain lively, fun debates about, Pluto being in Aquarius, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no, Pluto's in Capricorn. It went in Capricorn in the Vedic in February of 2020. I mean, we went into
a
lockdown
long
that
time
year.
ago.
That's
That makes
Capricorn.
sense. That
Thank
totally
you.
makes sense.
Okay, okay.
That
So
totally
you're
makes
following
sense.
me. Okay,
Yeah, the
thank you.
restrictions, holding things back,
Yes.
delayed gratification. Yes, yeah.
Ruling the
What
world.
did the
Yeah.
Westerner ruling the world? Yeah, Saturnian structure, the old Satan, according to
Yeah,
Greenie.
well, Capricorn makes
Yeah,
more sense because they're kind of the apex of the
yeah,
rulers of the world, the earthly
right. Yeah,
signs. So to me, Pluto and Aquarius, that just, I don't, but it'll work both ways. They have
Mhm.
methods for making it work both
It's a
ways, and I
stretch,
like
though,
both.
Oracle. It is a stretch, though, I think, when you compare it to the Capricorn and Pluto, to be honest, even though I'm a Western guy, I
Mhm.
guess if I had to, I mean, even though if I had to pick something, but like that Vedic sounds a lot more accurate than Pluto, because Pluto in Aquarius, that seems like some out of this world alien stuff going on.
Right,
Like
and humanitarian and
that too. Yeah.
transforming how we look at humanity. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I
Technology. Yeah.
personally am in the last 7 years, I've leaned more the Vedic, but uh, I like both. I still look at the
Yeah.
Western. Yeah. Hmm.
What? Okay. So using that example of what the Westerners, I call it Babylon. I call it Babylonian astrology. Be cool. The Western
Yeah.
astrology,
Yeah.
Babylonian astrology. What if the Vedic thought it was Pluto and Capricorn? What did the Babylonian astrology think
Well, it would
it
be
was in?
Pluto in Aquarius, like what most Westerners
Okay,
view
they
it
still saw it was
now
that.
is it
Okay.
would be, yeah, most Western astrology is based on that
So
Greek
in the
and the
20s, in
Babylon.
2020, that was it in the
Mhm.
Western astrology. Okay.
Yeah, it would
Which,
be
yeah,
in
I
Aquarius.
can see a little bit, but the Capricorn is such a literally heavy with the Saturn, energy, like such a
Mhm.
heavy thing, and that was such a heavy time, huh? And many figuratively and literally
Yeah,
that
because
time right there.
Capricorn
Yeah.
rules world governments, and
Uh-huh.
and so like governing, and stuff like that is more of a Capricorn, whereas corporations and organizations and humanity as a whole is ruled by Aquarius.
Right.
So I see a difference, but that's just me. I
Mhm.
don't. I don't.
And
I'm different.
we're different. That's then speaking of different with the Aquarian energy and Mediterranean. Shout out to Zephyr as our first member. I just unlocked it
Awesome.
today. So thank you, Zephyr.
Very
We'll be
cool,
getting
Zephyr.
like private member chats and some first exclusive videos as well. Thank you so much. Very generous. Very generous.
This is a $500 plate dinner. Good night. Oh, 500. Oh, okay. All right, no problem. Here, put us down for 4, in case we want seconds.
Thank you. And thank you, Lady Luck, too, for our second one. That's so beautiful.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much, Lady Luck. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything started to go good when I started hanging out with Oracle.
You're funny.
Better, I'll say better. Yeah. Yeah. No, but
Little
like these
pixie dust.
insights are great. Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks. No, I
Yeah.
saw
Thank you,
you
Lady
liked
Luck.
astrology, and so I mean that's my language. And honestly,
Mm-hmm.
astrology is very much like in the book that I'm reading now. It is a language, so it needs interpretation. And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of leery of someone who could just like look at it and just interpret right away. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes
Take
some
some.
analysis when you're going to go deep.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that I really like about the Vedic is that it really gets into the heart and soul of a person, and to figure out,
Mm.
what you have is unavoidable karma, what are negotiable karmas, and what is kind of your book to be writing. I'm not that good at it yet. I will
Yeah.
admit it, I'm not there yet, but I hope to always be a student.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really
If
cool.
if you're telling somebody, it definitely is. Love it. If you're telling somebody that's starting out, what would you tell them to focus on? Like
Mm,
get
that's a
started.
great question too. To me, and this is also kind of what's in the book, when you really deep dive into just kind of like stay your own chart, start
Hmm.
deep diving into your own
Yeah.
chart and finding out things about that, and then start extracting that and learning where you're seeing it in other charts and how it correlates so that you can start to understand the language,
Hmm.
kind of like any other kind of language. When you're learning it, you start
Yeah.
seeing when it's used, and you can apply those concepts. The symbols are never the essence, but they help convey the meaning of what's behind it. And so
Yeah.
when you start learning those symbols and what they mean, and you start looking for the connections with maybe other people who have similarities, then it hits home even more, where you start to understand how to read that energy and just deep dive into what interests you as well. I mean,
Right. I think
you
it's
know
good
that
too
you
to have a
teach.
yeah, right. When you're passionate about something, and the students are passionate, it just knocks it out the park. It's a whole new stratosphere, you know.
Mhm.
It also too seeing results help, just like with anything like exercise. When you see results, it's motivating. And for me, like getting a good working knowledge about each planet, what some characteristics, what they represent, I guess the archetypes of that,
Yeah.
as long as doing the same thing with each sign, um and the elements, for example, really help me kind of have mini successes, like when I'm like, oh, okay, that represents that, okay, oh, I see this happening in real time,
Yeah.
type of stuff, you know but
Yeah.
in that case, if you're doing Vedic, you would have to do those constant those constellation points. What are those called again?
Oh, they're called nakshatras, and I
Not
actually,
chakras. Yeah.
yeah, I like looking at like the reading I did this week. I don't know if I'm allowed to
Mm.
shout out, but I did
Yeah, go
one,
ahead.
and
Yeah,
I
please.
just did it based on their nakshatras. And when you
Hmm.
see the sun in this nakshatra, it tells you a lot about their soul path and what their father or maybe their husband would be like, but what their soul is. And then when you see the moon, it's similar, like what is their emotions from day to day, like what are the symbols behind that, what are the meanings,
Hmm.
it's fascinating to look at that. And you could just look at someone's nakshatras in their chart and tell a whole lot about like how they manifest energy and what's the energy of their life. It's amazing to me, but
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
that's still not the
That.
like the Vedic, for the most part, the astrologers, they still use kind of the basic stuff that Westerners do, which
Hmm.
is what is the except they don't integrate the outer planets. They don't integrate
Mm.
Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
I
What do
do.
you think that is? They don't.
Because they
Those are the
weren't
collective planets.
originally, yeah, they're not visible to the naked eye, so their influence is more generational. It's not
Right.
it's not as personal. So while you have Mars
Yeah.
and Saturn are outside Earth, they still have a more personal effect. But
Hmm.
I'm not really sure. They hadn't been discovered either. I mean,
So
this is thousands of years old.
right. So yeah, that's why it's so amazing, man. How much
Yeah.
things that we use are thousands of years old, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so if I'm looking at my Astro Matrix app and it says like current planets, it says Sun in Taurus, Moon in
Hmm.
Capricorn, Mercury in Taurus. Is that what Vedic astrology would say right now, too?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Yeah, the sun is actually in 3 degrees Taurus in the Vedic, and it's actually right now just conjunct Uranus at 4 degrees Taurus. So it's perfect night for talking astrology because, as you know, Uranus rules astrology. So
Right.
yeah, it's a great night for that.
Right.
And then the moon is in Capricorn in Vedic. I don't
Capricorn. Yeah.
know, is it showing that in the Western as
It's
well?
showing that it's 27 degrees.
Okay, it's three
Capricorn.
degrees Capricorn and Vedic
Mhm.
with Pluto at 1 degrees. Or no, it's not.
Yeah.
9 degrees. Yeah.
And then we got the Mercury in Taurus right now on the Western astrology transit.
Mercury is 19 degrees Aries in the Vedic.
Mm, okay.
And then Jupiter is at 3 degrees Gemini.
Gemini. Yeah. This says 24. So
Okay.
yeah,
So you can see
Gemini.
how the math is slightly different by about
Slightly
24
different. Yeah.
degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure Leo is the same right now because it's like right kind of in the middle at 13 and a half degrees in the Western.
What you mean?
Excuse me, Mars and Leo in the
Oh,
Western.
Mars is actually in Cancer at 19
Oh,
degrees in
okay.
the Vedic. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
All
It's
right.
mhm.
So yeah, we want to get into this cool presentation right here and get your our
Yeah,
takes on it.
I like that one because it was done about a month and a half ago.
Mhm.
But I will say there's one thing that I'm adamant about with people who might go to astrologers. I don't like the whole sometimes gloom and doom. This one was actually
Yes.
very accurate, and I appreciate that because she explains why. But there are some astrologers I've seen on YouTube that their primary predictions are fear-based, which can create kind of a cultish almost following behind that fear, the collective
Yeah.
fear. I don't really like that. I think that you always have to have something good to follow up on it,
Right.
or to be neutral for your astrologer to be
Y-
neutral in how they interpret, because
Yeah,
otherwise you get an
because
emotional following. I don't want anyone dependent upon astrology more than I would want them dependent upon anything else. Does that make sense?
that makes
Yeah.
sense, and I can see
Yeah.
how that could happen. People being swayed by that. Yeah. I mean, Zephyr,
Yeah.
like, I think, yeah, she said it was a really insightful, hit some stuff and validated some things for me. Yeah. So you
Cool.
probably like, yeah,
Yeah. I read
showed her.
Zephyr's. Yeah.
That's
That
awesome. Yeah.
was
I'm
awesome.
sure it was a
Yeah.
very colorful chart, huh?
It was really great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got an aspect similar to my own
Mm,
with the sun. So yeah, I
mhm.
really liked it. It was fun reading.
Yeah.
She's cool.
You lit-
Yeah.
She's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. And everyone, you're always, donations are welcome if you like. If not, I mean, either way, please soak up this knowledge. This is great right here. Yeah. So let's do this. That's the wrong one. Mhm. Oh, that's why. Okay. Remove. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm being a boomer right now. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually make it go a little faster if you want, but like say
Okay.
like in 1938 when the Yellow River flooded in China and 500,000 people died, Saturn
Hmm.
was in Pisces in the Vedic method as well. So that's what she's trying to say, like with floods. And we've already experienced since she recorded this, I believe a couple of earthquakes, if I'm not mistaken. Someone mentioned
Oh
that they
yeah, there
did
was
like
last week there was Turkey. A
Turkey.
huge one,
Yeah.
7.3. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one like a 5.9 or something last week too.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, she's saying watery, huh? Watery. Oh, Saturn and
Yeah.
Pisces. Okay, what about this? Okay, this is something that, like, we had current events yesterday in class, and this dude, I just had this heartbreaking story this student shared of this these two orca whales in France. I think this goes with Saturn and Pisces, man. Like, they were at this like sea park, like Sea World, and it shut down a few months ago, and the owners couldn't keep it afloat. They had no money, but what they did was they kept the orca whale and her son in the tank without any trainers or anything. They've been there for a couple months, and there's algae growing all over it. And it's so
Oh,
sad, like, just to see them from, like, the drones showing them, like, just mindlessly, no stimulation from the trainers or anything.
are they
Just
still alive?
they're still alive, yeah, and there's algae growing in the tank. And
That's sad.
yeah, and then they come, I guess, to give it the bare minimum, giving them food, but that's about it. And they wanted to set them up in Canada, but the company doesn't want to pay the transportation fee on the ship, so they're just been stuck there, man, and it's getting worse day by day for them.
That's
And there's
sad.
some dolphins too right there, but I think about Pisces, the two fish, there's two
Yeah.
orca whales right there. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So, mm. But yeah, so they're saying like water, tension on the water, huh? Saturn and Pisces. Yeah.
Yeah, there's historically more flooding when you see the Saturn and the watery signs.
Yeah.
Rashis are signs in Vedic, I
Hmm.
guess. So if Saturn were in Cancer, it would be similar as well.
Yeah. So you have the receipts every time you bring up these historical events that correspond. That's
Mm.
receipts.
Yeah,
Definitely.
they had
Yeah.
in like 1887 was one of the deadliest where it was 1 to 2 million with the Yellow River flooding and Saturn was in Cancer then.
You said
So yeah,
people died?
1 to 2 million died.
Wow.
That was
What
in
year was this?
1887 September. The Yellow River flooded, and Saturn was in
Jeez.
Cancer then. But that's again using the Vedic system, so you
Mhm.
would probably say Saturn in Leo or something with the
Yeah.
Western. But you could see the flooding and different things like
Yeah.
that when it's in the water. I don't really have a whole lot on Saturn and Scorpio though, showing floods, but I don't know why that is.
Mhm. That sounds wild.
Yeah,
Saturn and Scorpio, that combination.
yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
Phil? Good to see you. What's up, Joe Cool? What's up, man? What's up, OG? Good to see you, brother. Okay, let's get on this. Bonus,
Yeah,
two
that's what we
bombs.
were
That's two
talking
bombs, right?
about. Yeah, we were
Wow.
talking about that back in February when we first started uh,
Mm-hmm.
collaborating on astrology, where I was saying that Uranus is hitting Algol at the end of May for the first time, and then it does it again in the fall. And
Right.
part of what she gets, yeah, the video wasn't actually up the last time I didn't see it, but the what she gets to talking about with India and Pakistan, I looked at their charts and their north nodes are both about a degrees. It's at like 28 degrees where Algol's at maybe 26 degrees. So there is
Mm-hmm.
potential for it. I don't know if I'm buying fully into them going straight onto it. I don't know that
Yeah,
I
but
see that.
it
I
was
don't feel that.
well. That's good, but however, what happened the last couple of weeks has been horrible over there, huh?
Yeah, it has been.
It's fucking horrible, like in the Kashmir right there. Yeah, there's been
Yeah.
people being massacred at vacation spots and temples. And,
It is
yeah,
awful, and she did predict that. I just don't
yeah,
know that I agree with the whole
the
nuclear.
nuclear
I
war.
think there's
Yeah,
I think there's a definite threat,
yeah.
but I don't really intuitively feel that right now. I don't know why.
And the way,
Maybe
and the way
maybe
she,
wrong.
I think you're right. Hopefully you're right too, because the way
Yeah.
she was saying too is like, nuclear. I forgot how she says it. Nuclear what? Kind of like it's like, dude. Once that happens, we can't play no more.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's playing no more. This is
No,
not a
yeah,
luxury.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, hey, Joe, cool. You said it sounds like you guys are speaking different languages. Well, it sounds like it, but here's the thing, my brother. I mean,
We
um,
are.
yeah, we are. Okay, yeah, we are. But then again, it's like from the geopolitical world events chamber, there is value there too. You know, so I think just hang in there, walk with us if you choose to. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you can give
Well,
us some good
she
insight.
does speak a different language. She's from India, so he might have been picking up on her accent, which is I think the original kind of Sanskrit and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where they do have a bit of an accent.
Well,
So,
yeah, but I think he's talking about astrology because he's told me that before. I'm
oh,
pretty sure he's
okay.
talking about
Yeah.
astrology. Yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah.
is a different language. Yeah,
Mhm.
like we were talking earlier. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Zephyr with a comment. So in Western astrology, we're in the age of Aquarius. Is that different than Vedic? Forgive me if that's a silly question, but I have no clue about Vedic astrology. But it's
Oh
super
yeah,
interesting.
that's a great question. No, they wouldn't consider it necessarily the age of Aquarius. There's a oof, I don't remember it because again, I'm still fairly new and it's not
Mhm.
my that's not my first language. Sanskrit's not
Yeah,
my first language. So I don't know how to fully read it, but there is an age of several thousands of years where it's kind of entropy's increasing, where we're delving deeper for thousands of years into basic entropy,
it
So
should be
Kali Yaga or something. I don't remember
Kali
the name of
Yuga.
it. There you
Yeah,
go. That's it.
yeah, Kali Yuga. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like
we're in that
you're
age.
the dark side. If it's to make room for the for the light, the golden age. All that,
Right.
yeah,
But we
yeah.
are like way before getting into the darkest parts. So I
Right,
mean,
exactly.
yeah,
We
yeah.
see little glimpses though. What's up, Phil?
Hmm.
Good to see you. Look at Phil. Said they are speaking an ancient language, the star language. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's universal. Yeah. And by the way, everybody, we have memberships now, so check them out. We have these cool emojis too. This is what we're in the mix of this, right, Oracle?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
she
yeah.
said. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. What's come to mind in a world event? I see Trump all over the place recently in Middle East making deals, doing this stuff, like um in the Pakistan
Um,
stuff and India stuff we just mentioned, which is very serious.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about back in February about how
Hmm.
most of the world is kind of gonna be going to the brink of war for
Hmm.
several years. But the US is more financially impacted. We haven't fully gotten there yet. But yeah, he's kind of I haven't really
Yeah.
looked too much at his chart. I can tell you a little bit about his chart, but
Yeah.
yeah. The
Well, doesn't
Rahu with Saturn.
go ahead.
Sorry?
Excuse me. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was
No,
gonna I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say,
You had a question.
in terms of Western astrology, isn't it some type of return on America's chart? Like
Yeah,
something
that
big was
started back
happening.
in 2020 2021. It was a Pluto
Hmm.
return. That's what a
That's
lot
it.
of
Yeah.
astrologers have hyped up. And you saw the Pluto because our Pluto and our moon are I think we're similar in the US's chart.
Hmm.
You had a lot of fear of food shortages and scarcity when that it's
Hmm.
either progressed or one of the charts I remember doing that and people were having a massive run on food and all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, there's probably a sense of scarcity when Pluto moves over the moon, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a Pluto return. And we're still in the thick of that. That happens I think until 2027, if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken. Because
okay.
Pluto moves so slow. Hmm.
It does. So far out there.
Seventh house.
My friends looked at my chart before. He said I'm a seventh house master because I have so many planets in the seventh house. So if
You
she's
do,
saying that,
yeah.
yeah. So if she's saying that the seventh house is synonymous with war, why would that be? Because I would think like the Virgo, under the Virgo
Mars in
chamber.
this Mar
Oh,
it's
Mars in
she
it.
said Mars in the seventh house
Mm,
because like if you have the sun in the seventh house, no, you're very partnership oriented person. You do
yeah.
well with the masses, you do well with collaborating with the masses, you do well in marriage, you do well with the market, because it's a Libra house. But so when you have
I see.
the planet of war in the partnership house, oh, you
Hmm.
you want a war with your partner. So if you see someone with
Oh,
a
that's
natal chart
bad.
yeah, with Mars in their seventh house, they're going to be
Oh,
arguing with their partner all the time,
yeah.
and they love it. They have to have
Right.
that fiery, passionate relationship. And same with like Mars in the fourth house. They want a household where there's constant
Oh,
debate and
oh,
liveliness and
no.
exercise. Yeah.
Is that
So
Mars in Cancer would kind of be kind of associated with that? Someone that has
with
Mars
Mars
in
in the
Cancer?
fourth, yeah,
Yeah.
kind
If
of
they,
it's
yeah.
similar with Mars in the fourth. And so a lot of
Damn.
times when I see charts with Mars in the fourth house, I'm like, huh, you saw a lot of fighting growing up, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just kind of like almost a given. Or the parents were very athletic and sports oriented.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's Mars that's in the seventh house that's the key there with making war with other people. But
Uh-huh.
normally, like your sun and moon being in the seventh house, I wouldn't say you're a warrior like that. Like you want to go to war with people. It's more like you
Nah.
can.
I
Yeah,
can't. Yeah.
because
You guys seen that?
yeah,
Yeah.
sun is both giving life, but it also can burn. So it's both benefic and malefic in Vedic. So
Hmm.
it's good for that. But that's a Mars in the seventh house thing. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Thank.
yeah.
What's up? Look within Patrick Bateman. He said, "Maybe I'm late, bro. You're right on time. Was out on a walk with the fam,
Cool.
and to reset. I'm glad you're here, brother. To reset the broadcast is Astrology World Prediction 2025 2027. Oracle Alexander, U.S., China, Russia, Taiwan, India, and even Mississippi.
When
Sanasa Yoga. Okay.
That's another good one. Yes, Patrick.
Let me get that up there
Sagittarius
for you.
is ruled by Jupiter. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yogas are not something I've gotten into. I understand a little bit of them, but it's really deep. It's kind of like if you would see a grand trine in someone's
Mm-hmm.
chart. So like three planets are all trine each other, but in different, say, earth signs. Forms a grand trine, so it's a major aspect that's different than a trine solo. So yogas kind of operate from a similar principle. So say
Yeah.
like you have your fifth house ruler conjunct your ninth house ruler in your first house. That's called a Raja Yoga. That's a kingmaker. So when you see people with that, they carry a lot of earthly authority.
Mhm.
because those are dharma
Yeah.
houses, the fire houses. So
Yeah.
that's what she means by like yogas. It's the way that the
Yeah.
planets interact in significant ways in a person's chart.
I see.
Okay.
Or they would, as we would say in the West, like a grand cross or something like that. Or
Yeah,
they would a
exactly.
stellium
Yeah.
or something like that. Like, yeah, okay. I see.
Stellium, right,
Yeah,
exactly. Hmm.
got it. Because like, even though I haven't gone into it, like as you know, for Vedic astrology, I've noticed a big push since that time. What she said, 2013, Year of the Snake, how so many astrologers that pushed towards Vedic astrology. I'm sure you saw it too, right? Like
Well,
people.
yeah, I tend to be like a few steps ahead of what's
Mhm.
going on in the culture, like
Uh-huh.
moving away from the city. And so, yeah, I picked it up 6 or 7 years ago, but I did read
Mhm.
in my early 20s the Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. I never read the other one, which is the Rig Veda, and that's where the term Vedic astrology comes from. It's from the
Mhm.
Vedas, which are I don't I don't even know how to explain it. It's like the people
It's
who
their
gave the
epic,
astrology.
right? It's their holy book of laid
Mm-hmm.
down, right, with astrology in it. Yeah, among
Yeah,
other
yeah,
things. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
astrology
But
is actually part of their religion, you know.
that's awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that about Taoism too is like that as well.
I love
Because
Taoism too, yeah.
it makes sense because they're all about observing nature to find the way. You know, that's my words,
Yeah.
like paraphrasing, but it would make sense to have the planets be up there. Um,
Right.
yeah, the reason I brought that up about like this push I've noticed this trending of Vedic astrology, especially in the West, is like what
Mhm.
she's saying. Like she's saying, like, yeah, it will be the spiritual India will be the spiritual hub, basically, right? Um, and yes, I've noticed like so many like yogis and Western yogis going to the Gange River, making the pilgrimage to India. However, I'm thinking from like a spiritual digital um, push of so many people learning about and practicing Vedic astrology. It's ridiculous, and I can see,
That's wild.
yeah, like how like it is the hub. Yeah, I remember somebody saying years ago, Michael Tsarion, saying that because he's part Scottish and Indian, and he was saying that like India, people say India is so great and all this. He's so God, but there's India seems to be like almost corrupted because they have their spiritual stuff going on for so long that if anything
Mhm.
stays around for long enough, it's gonna have some cracks and get senile, kind of.
That's
Uh,
everything. Yeah.
that's everything, though, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Second law of thermodynamics, entropy increases or something.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, when you have humans involved, it's gonna get. But I think they do have they've had a bit of a revival going on for a while, with
Hmm.
outsourcing stuff to India. But I think the spiritual component of their country really hasn't been seen, maybe, by
No, it
the
hasn't.
rest of the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's amazing. When I used to hang out at the ashram in the Bay Area, Amma, the hugging saint.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of her.
No,
Used to, yeah, she goes around hugging people. She's from
that's
Bangalore.
awesome.
Yeah, and
That's so cool.
she has a ashram in the Bay Area in the East Bay, and it was like a blissed out rock concert going to to go see her, and
Mhm.
it's just a good feeling. Like I
That's
love
so
India.
cool.
I mean, I've never been
I just
there,
wrote that
but
down.
yeah, she's great. She's amazing. Uh, my wife's been there a couple times, but I really think definitely I have an affinity for Indian. Uh, yeah, it's very psychedelic. I like it. I think, yeah, but enough of the Indian girl glazing. Let's get on. We got work to do here. Let's see. I'm gonna be transparent, not to cause trouble, but it's like what we were talking about earlier. Personally, it's like what I'm talking about. Talking about myself in the sense
Yeah.
that, like, even though, like, I'm Trump, right, President Trump. Even though you don't challenge, what most of the West is against, right? Putin, what he's doing, right? We can say that
Mhm.
most of the
Mhm.
West is against what he's doing, even though he's not supporting him per se and like fighting Ukraine. He's not challenging him. And
No.
what's happened is the West and the European Union, the Union has just galvanized. It's starting to galvanize, huh? They're like, you're not going to do
I've
anything,
noticed
so we're
that
going to just
too. I think that's almost strategic in order
yeah,
to kind of out them for what they've been doing for a while. You know, whether it's
yeah,
the EU or whatnot, where they're trying to operate as like almost one nation, and it
yes.
doesn't work that way.
And
I
no,
mean,
it
they're very
doesn't.
different people in various European countries, but
Mhm.
I was kind of like, wait, the Crusades? We're bringing those back? That's not going to work out well. The birth rate hasn't
No,
been too good in Europe for like 30,
yeah.
50 years.
She just said it about the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction is going to affect birth rate, right?
Oh,
And the way she
did
was
she say
saying it in
that?
the beginning
Yeah.
of the video, she said that,
Oh, the
right? And it
Jupiter.
doesn't
Yeah,
sound like a
yeah,
good way
yeah.
because it makes sense, right? Jupiter, abundance and all that expansion. But if you put it in
Mhm.
Saturn, it's going to have some restrictions on that, right?
Yeah,
It's going to
and
look like a
and
restricted place.
sometimes it's when I see Jupiter conjunct Saturn in a chart, I automatically, I don't know where I picked it up, but I've found it to be
Mhm.
the case, is like a lot of good architects. So if you have like
Mm.
Saturn and Jupiter working
Structure,
together, yeah, it's creating
yeah.
something complete new. It could be building, it could be carpentry, or it could be some engineering of some other completely different structure. You
Hmm.
know, like
Yeah,
architects. Yeah, it could be architects online too, or architects of a completely new system,
like
you know,
3D
but
printing,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, that
Exactly.
makes sense. Like that Jupiter brings Saturn alive.
Hmm.
And
And Saturn
it also makes
stabilizes.
Jupiter, which usually like a stabilized, yeah, usually a dreamer. It stabilizes the dreamer nature of or just plain,
Yeah.
this carefree nature of Jupiter. I like that. Shout out to Godheart Guardian in building. He said Baba Trump does. I like that. Fucking funny ass fucker, man. Baba Baba Trump does. Okay. I see. Okay, let's get it. Let's get on it. What do you think about that? Right there.
I think that's probably true. Um,
Hmm.
I don't see the Labor Party and the monarchy ever being in total harmony, and if they are, then the monarchy's just kind of gone away. It just it's
Yeah.
nullified and what's the word I'm looking for? Not capitulated, but it's just made into a eunuch. It's not
A
relevant.
eunuch. Yeah.
You know, I don't
Yeah,
know,
it only had certain services.
castrated. Yes,
Uh,
it's a castration of the monarchy, the Labor Party is to it.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean that's just kind of the way I view it, but
I like that
I don't
metaphor.
know. But
That's come up in our conversations. Like, what my wife's been watching these Chinese dramas, and they used to have the eunuchs back then. Yeah, so that's funny how you said that, but it makes sense, right? I
Yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
eunuch can do some stuff, but it can't do everything.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
great diplomats, but you know, they're not.
it makes sense. It makes sense because like the monarchy, they wouldn't want. We'll say the monarchy is the king, which they are, right? King, queen. In the labor parties, they're eunuch, um, representative or
No,
whatever,
yeah, they're the diplomat. Yeah.
the diplomat.
Uh,
So it's like, yeah, they're good speakers and all this stuff, but they don't have no real primal energy power right there because they don't want to be challenged. Because I think she says it, she'll say it. The astrologer will say it. The monarchy is still in control, regardless of what kind of charades they want to put on. Right? They have the real power still. Yeah,
Somewhat. I mean,
she said
it
somewhat.
seems
Yeah.
like they've given a lot over when the Labor
Yes,
Party's
definitely.
kind of ruling, and so the Labor Party kind of castrates the need for the monarchy to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Uh,
that goes back hundreds of years, you know, with Jacobite rebellions and all of that stuff, the more power to the
Jacob,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, when it comes over to the US, I mean, we rebelled, power to the people, it works for us, but, you know, when they try to do that over there, and you look how much it costs the monarchy from the people, and the more power I think that the Labor Party has, then the less power and relevance the monarchy has. Does that make sense? I
Right.
don't know.
That makes
It
sense.
just
That makes sense.
yeah.
I think the Mercury Taurus is really fucking catapulting your
Oh, it's
communication tonight.
Aries. Oh, you
Oh,
mean like
Aries,
Mercury
excuse me.
Taurus. My natal Aries. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is Mercury. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Mercury transiting over
Well,
my.
that means that that's what's happening right now, right?
Yeah. Now I get
Yeah.
what you're
So it's
saying. You're talking about
perfect.
the
It's
transit. Yeah,
perfect.
makes totally get
Perfect.
it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
the labor and
Look at it. Look at Afghanistan. Look at Iran. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you say
There's a
U.S. because
balance.
because with the whole Me Too movement and toxic masculinity being a very commonly used word? Do you think the U.S. is taking care of their women? Even that sounds weird. They're
Mm,
women.
as a
You know what I mean?
country,
Yeah, the country.
um,
Yeah.
it's better than a lot of other places. And
Right.
in fact, I would much prefer to be born a woman here than in lots of other countries. However, there has been a heightened emphasis on the divide between men and women that
Oh yeah. Look at
sells.
right here. Look at this is it. I was about to say something. Ripley Force. What's up? A new friend. He says Bugatti drivers unite. You know what? That's the code word. That's dog whistle for Andrew Tate. Yeah, definitely, right? Yeah, we're talking mermaids. Yeah, that's a red pill term, mermaids. But
Mermaids.
but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, be it that you have children like in the front lines in high school,
Uh-huh.
is that been? Have you heard of anything about that Andrew Tate red pill stuff? People
I've heard of like
getting
Rollo
in there,
Tomasi and stuff
yeah,
like that. And the kids, they're so bombarded with information.
right,
It's very important to keep open dialogue with them so that you can
mm-hmm.
discuss the various information, even though you can't control it. I mean, you can just kind of, we've had
Oh yeah,
red
what's
pill
up?
discussions, blue pill discussions, all of
Right,
those various discussions, and I try to raise independent thinkers so that they question every paradigm. Like, what's the angle? What's the question behind the question? That's actually a really good book. But ask yourself why a person is projecting and protecting this. What is their incentive? And so, we've definitely had red pill conversations. We've had blue pill conversations.
yeah,
We've had a lot of those.
that's
So, but
awesome.
I try to tell them, hey, look, people are making money off the divide. Treat
Mm-hmm.
everybody as individuals first and foremost, because even though I am a woman and, there's other women in the family, we're all different, just like all men are different too. I mean, there's
Yeah,
similarities,
yeah,
but I don't think you can align people
and
along that way.
and
It doesn't work
that's
out
what
that well.
seems to be happen a lot of times with the red black pill stuff is like it is a generalization, a sweeping generalization,
Sweeping
when in fact
generalization, yeah.
which is in fact is like, I mean, that's a good for like a quick litmus test, survey the situation, but like you said, each individual is a person, and they have nuances and different things, details about them, right? That's
Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
okay. What's up,
I mean, I
Theo?
would I
Good to
would
see you.
I would also expect that with Pluto moving over our moon the last few years, that there would be more emphasis on that,
Ah, so you could have seen
like
that's coming. Oh,
yeah, like the divide
mm,
making money, with Pluto moving over the moon, with
yeah,
like people, yeah, you could see that, but I I
yeah.
don't I don't know if I actually question how good or bad. I mean, honestly, I think women have more liberties here than most countries in the
Mm-hmm.
world, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
What I see, I would say yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And so I think that's kind of a testament to the type of males that have been raised, especially in the past, and how they are, and
Hmm.
I don't I don't knock that. I think that we all have room to grow.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
I think that's why it came about the way it did. Everything happens for a reason, because some of us
mhm.
did need that other side to it. They're more masculine centered, like I guess paradigm way of looking at things. The only thing is you don't want to go overboard with that,
Right.
which we
Yeah.
strive for balance.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
what she was talking about, is extremes in any kind of culture.
Hmm.
It's not healthy, like
It's
whether
not.
it's like cancel culture even. I mean, like how much
Hmm.
room does that allow for people to grow? But we've had that element since the beginning with, manifest destiny, where we're outsourcing our religion and our values onto other cultures. So that's
Yes.
kind of always been part of the US equation, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna just burn the flag. You know what
Be
I mean?
Yeah, because that's the big thing to do in the whole quote unquote black consciousness sector. Some folks will literally, instead of saying European people, they'll say the colonizer, and I
Mm,
get it because a lot of European countries have colonized places all over the world and done like
mm-hmm.
horrible things. But with that said, I'll also say acknowledge that like I have empathy for the people that were harmed by it. But with that said, they also that European culture uh put a new flavor to those indigenous cultures, in,
It
in
did.
some interesting ways, and even some little good ways too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think you can introduce your own culture without subjugating and trying to destroy or even commit genocide upon another culture. In fact, I
hmm,
believe you get more out of an acceptance of diversity. You get more talent you don't even know exists, new
right,
creativity, new planes
right.
of existence, by fostering that element of diversity, I guess you would say. I don't know if
No,
it's
it's right.
diversity is the right word I'm
I
looking
think it's
for.
diversity, variety. Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't
yeah,
necessarily know that you can force that any more than it's good to force people into subjectivity like colonization. That's insane.
yeah.
Or
I
like even what they're still doing now, and I have friends in Africa, and what they do
really.
over there. Yeah, I do. I have friends
Hmm.
in Nigeria,
Yeah,
and yeah, and so some of the stuff that we don't know about in the West that goes on
hmm,
over there is still to me very colonizing, you know,
yeah,
where we
yeah,
outsource forced things that I don't agree with in order to get monetary monetization from the IMF, Your
yeah,
country wants a loan, then you have to be the guinea pigs for this. To me, I
yeah,
feel like the exploitiveness is still happening, but whether or not people over here with their liberation want to focus on that in order to help liberate and stop the subjugation of other continents still going on is a different
yeah,
question.
yeah. Because I think a lot of people, especially in this panel, versus there's certain sectors, there's folks that are they feel trapped almost. I'm listening to their words in the sense that like they feel like immigrants, for example, are like they use words like this, taking over our culture, and they say stuff like, "I want to." This is people on our panelverse. They'll say like, "I want to be around." It makes me want to be around like people like me more, like with the same culture as me
Like
and the same
me.
same values as me. And I keep hearing that, and I'm like, okay, I get it. And they in the cope or or to be more positive, their explanation of it is, doesn't everyone want to be around people like them? And I get it. There's an affinity for that. I have. With that said, I have to say, as someone that literally moved to someone's a different, complete different culture than what I grew up with, and living there now, and I'm surrounded by somebody else's quote unquote culture, I still know I know where I'm at, but I also know who I am in a
Oh
sense,
yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And then you, as someone that you're like yourself, has moved around many places and has friends, like you said, all over the world. I'm sure you see the value.
Yeah.
We see the value of actually getting out there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
getting out there can also mean in your neighborhood in America, trying to be open and talk to some of these quote unquote immigrants and stuff. So
Yeah, I've been very fortunate in that regard. Hi, Lindsay.
what's up,
Yeah,
Lindsay? Good to see you.
I've definitely been around, like, even when I think I was in middle school. Um, my best friend one was African American and the other one was from Vietnam. And it was just, it didn't strike me as abnormal. I guess because I was raised in the city. So I
Yeah,
guess it depends on but
where you're from.
even within the United States, we have so many
What's up, Plumpy?
diverse cultures here, cultures within
Hmm.
cultures. And then
Absolutely.
generations can be cultures as well. You know,
Yeah.
like definitely.
Yeah, culture is very broad. That term. Culture is like way
Mhm.
of being, group's way of being. Yeah.
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 Do you want to keep going,
Um
or are we at a
it,
good stopping point? I mean, did she cover all the main topics? I didn't
I
know.
think she I
I
think
think
she
she
did. We can
did.
go a little we can go over one more
Yeah.
because the most replayed section is about a
Oh,
couple
okay.
minutes away. Let's go there and then
Oh,
go after, and
okay.
then we can open up the
Uh-huh.
panel. Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
good idea.
We stop it at there. Yeah. Interesting
Cool.
enough, YouTube in terms of monetization, they frown upon you talking about the Ukraine. We
Really?
got messages the other day about that. Yeah, 'cause I had Ukraine in the
Really?
title. They're like
Oh,
either you're
wow.
for it or for the war or against it. You said it'll affect your monetization. It's like, oh god, that's
I
crazy.
had no
Like, come on,
idea.
man. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah,
But
they said,
yeah, I mean, you could kind of tell, like, I mean, this was a prediction almost like 20 years ago that I was making when I was younger, that Europe would be kind of on the brink of disaster just because its birth rate, like so many of the
mm-hmm.
European nations have dropped below a sustainable birth rate.
Yeah, they have.
And so you have to, whether you like it or not, in order to complement and upkeep the culture, you have to bring in more immigrants when your birth rate drops below a certain threshold in order to be sustainable. Otherwise, another nation's going to overcome you and take it over. But that's
Yeah,
been where they've been for a while.
yeah. That's what seems like it's
But yeah,
happened. You know.
yeah,
And
I
even in Asia, the more developed countries like in Taiwan and Japan, and Korea, birth rate is down.
mm,
It's definitely down. Yeah, 'cause we have those Western ideals, even though it's Asia.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that's, I don't know. I don't know. Some of the things she talked about did seem kind of gloom and doom. Like she
Mm-hmm.
was saying, basically the population's going to be cold and stuff, and I'm like, huh, I don't know. I don't. Maybe I don't know. It was just kind of like that part was a little creepy, but a lot
Yeah,
of the predictions that she said back then have come true. With Russia
yeah.
going to war, and then India and Pakistan. They hadn't even developed that when I think she made that prediction. But yeah,
Nah, because that just happened.
so
The stuff like the last couple weeks, all
yeah,
that those murders and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. So
genocide.
that's kind of like when people are really good at reading, then they can make these predictions, and they're not always gloom and doom. I mean, you can
What's up,
make
Tennyson?
exact predictions, but yeah, like there's one chart I remember looking at a couple of charts, and I remember saying, "Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys are open to having children, but I see something in the next month," and it was just my interpretation, just knowing
Mm-hmm.
things, and they laughed at me.
Yeah,
And then they're like, "Well, that's impossible." But then it turns out like one of the children and stuff moved in with them that had lived with the other parent, and they're like, "How did you know that?" And I was like,
yeah.
I just
That's
interpreting the
it.
stuff, because when you know the language, I guess you can read the symbols easier, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not personal. I mean that's what I mean. I don't like it when people get too emotional about, like I'm saying, like pumping the fear, I guess you
Mm-hmm.
would say. I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't like that.
Well, speaking of Alex Jones, that's some of his. Even though I really enjoy his content, that's what he's been accused of, and I can see it at times, like scaring, like fear, using fear and stuff, and then putting on then selling the product right after that to help you stay
Yeah,
calm, like a
yeah,
nootropic or something. Yeah,
fear sells.
yeah, yeah.
People love to be
Um,
afraid. I just prefer in a horror movie instead of like trying to make it real life.
like controlled, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or choose to feel that feeling today.
Mhm. Yeah, you had there was a lot of craziness backstage. Like shout out to uh, uh, Miss Alexander because like just to be here today. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
there was a lot of
Yeah,
stuff going
that's
on.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, yeah. electronics, everything. Yeah, just
Yeah.
AC guy coming out this week.
Yeah. AC?
Not
Oh,
too
your
bad.
AC's busted?
Oh god, yeah. The motor on that went out, and so yeah, it's just kind of wild week. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what in terms of, okay, that's the big scale things. So how would you
Uh-huh.
encompass it, summarize it, the big
Ooh,
scale stuff, all this what we just witnessed?
yeah, I mean, I still pretty much stick with what I said back. Thank you, Lindsay. There's something special about you too. I still
Yeah.
stick with what I said back in
Absolutely.
February. You know that we're gonna the world is gonna start in on that, but for the
Hmm.
most part, the U.S. If you want my interpretation of say some of the planetary stuff that's going on. I mean, when I see Neptune and Saturn and Pisces, I think there's some definite karmic spiritual things. Like when you see a chart that's got Neptune conjunct Pisces, like in Western,
Hmm.
that person is here for a definite karmic spiritual mission. When you
Yeah.
have a chart where your chart interacts with another person, say like your Saturn is
Hmm.
with or opposite someone else's Neptune, that's a very
Hmm.
karmic. So pull the things are.
You glitched out for a second. You there?
But can you hear me?
You glitched out for a second. You glitched out
Can
for
you
a
hear me?
second. Q, you were saying,
Oh,
yeah, I can hear you. You
oh,
said right,
sorry.
right before you glitched out, you said when you have a Saturn that's what'd you say or opposed?
Opposite Neptune
Opposite of
or
Neptune,
conjunct
yeah.
someone
Karmic
else's,
reason.
then there's a definite karmic connection with the relationship. Sometimes when you'll see that,
Hmm.
you're like, oh wow. Even if you want to avoid that person, there's something there. But
Yeah.
when you see it like right now in the stars, like with Neptune and Saturn, there's an energy that manifests that's very very connection oriented, and there's even like since the beginning of April there's more people who have been depressed and sad and shedding tears. That's again the watery aspect of Pisces and not maybe even knowing why. It's
Hmm.
a deeper spiritual thing going on.
Yeah.
The Rahu, the North Node, Rahu is about to move. I did not look exactly when it moves into Aquarius with the Vedic, but yeah, it's going into a this is my own prediction. It's moving into a nakshatra called Purva Bhadrapada, which I find it a fascinating one. I really like studying that one. There's a lot of esoteric things. There's also a lot of cult leaders, charismatic stuff. So I would expect
Mm.
this year to see a rise in cult leaders, charismatic
Yeah.
people trying to sway people with emotions, all of that, because it's all
Yeah.
year long. It's till the
Yeah.
very end of the year. It's in that particular nakshatra. And it's a very cool one. It's just, you know, that it does have a tendency towards
Yeah.
that, towards making people go in groups and with a charismatic leader. It's a
I
very
haven't seen
connecting.
it's very what?
It's a very community binding,
Oh,
group
okay.
binding nakshatra. Yeah.
I haven't saw this guy in the Panelverse. I discovered his channel the other day, and Leslie Tanner or something like his name. And then he literally looks like a Jim Baker dude. I think he's a
Oh
comedian,
wow.
and he's like and he has the number 1-800 number, and he's saying he'll pray for you, but at the same time he's telling jokes and stuff. It's like very very cultish, but like kind of like a satire. It's a satire,
Yes.
but he's totally committed to the bit though. But yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
That's yeah, they were kind of freaky growing up on that stuff.
Hmm.
Freaky, freaky.
Yeah. Yeah, there
Jem
was
and
also
Tammy Faye.
Jimmy Swagger. He's still around now.
Oh yeah.
Jim Baker. He's
Yeah,
selling
do you
like
remember
survival
Ernest
stuff.
Angsley
Yeah,
too?
yeah. I
Oh
remember
my
him.
gosh, we used to call
Yeah.
him Ernest Angry because he's like all evil spirits come out. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy about? He used to scare me.
How do you spell his
Like
last name?
Ernest Angsley, Angley, I think. But he was like one
Yeah,
of
here you
those
go.
late night freaky deaky ones. He may still be alive. I don't know.
You said late night freaky deaky.
Yeah, he'd be like on. I wasn't PBS, but maybe it was early morning Sunday. But I don't know. He used to scare the shit out of me. I'm like, this guy's scary.
Ernest
Ugh.
Ames. I'm trying to find this stuff.
Are you looking him up now?
Yeah, can't find
Yeah.
him.
We used to call him
Pastor.
Ernest Angry. He was some sort of preacher.
He would get very angry.
Well,
Yeah.
he's just passionate, but he was just kind of like, I don't know. He'd cast out the demons and people would fall over, but it was super creepy and emotional, and it would just like freak me out as a kid.
Super
Like,
creepy
I
and
don't,
emotional.
yeah, like I don't want that guy touching me.
I come to
It's Benny Hill. You heard of him?
Oh yeah, I remember that dude.
What's up, Cryo? Cryo from Ohio.
There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this
This is what the energy you see coming up. This cult leader stuff.
I know that it's the spirit of the Lord.
Damn.
There are
Yeah, he did some weird healing stuff with people, like he touched them
Yeah,
and then they like fall down.
yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that. Someone tried
Yeah.
to do that to me one time, back when I was religious, and I
Yeah.
swear I had the worst headache. It was just like it was like so.
Really?
Yeah,
They try to
man.
do it to you?
Yeah,
you may not understand this.
What was this
I don't know.
context? Were you in a service, a church service?
Yeah, they thought I was being attacked by like
A
bad
demon?
forces or something. Yeah, they
Mhm.
didn't say demon, but they said something like that,
What
you know?
imaginary friend?
Yeah, I guess so. And I was like, all right, I'm game for anything. Sure. You think you can help me, like, get rid of bad mojo around me? That's cool. And they did
Yeah.
that, and like, I swear my head just felt like it was on fire. And
So they were
I don't
doing
think my
something to
life
you.
got any better. You know what I mean?
Sounds
Like, I
sounds
don't.
like it got worse.
Yeah, I had a headache
Just give
for
you a
like
headache.
several days. I was like, okay,
Wow.
I don't want to do the cast out thing anymore. I'm not good for that. It didn't work. I don't know.
I should have brought you here to my pastor. You've been good.
What?
Yeah, my pastor right
I
here.
don't either.
Penny.
But when the Lord talks to me, I obey him. It's just that simple. There's nothing more to it.
We would have had you up on stage.
I like that.
You see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. WWF. Ahimsa, we would have had you in the front row. Boom.
Yeah, see, yeah, I remember seeing shit like that as a kid. And I did that to my little brother, and I remember
To your
pushing him
brother?
down. I was like, "All evil spirits come out!" And so I didn't get in trouble for like pushing my little brother down because I was saving his soul.
What's going on?
Cancer, Pastor! Cancer! All the pain is gone in his chest!
We break it in the name of the Lord.
Whoa. Heck yeah. What?
Holy, holy.
Yes.
Look at it. All the pain is gone.
Bring him up. That's a pimp slap almost. You see that? Get her up.
Yeah,
Yo. It's like wrestling. Come on.
yeah.
What? She knocked her out of her shoes.
Yeah, that's called assault in any other scenario.
That's assault, sister. Joshua. Effort, you're next. Oh, they got to do the kids. Get the kids.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, y'all
That's
welcome to come up on the
insane.
panel.
When he was 3, it caused dramatic symptoms.
We have church. It is Sunday over here in Taiwan.
He stuttered for 13 years.
Let's hear him talk now. Let's hear him talk. Whoa.
She was in the choir. She was in the choir. She can sing.
Awesome. When did he get this?
She's in the choir. Her glasses fell off. And now her eyes. What is that?
Cancer, Pastor. Cancer.
Very emotional service.
It's,
Look at him getting revved up. Like Goku. That was weak. The guy was still standing up.
I want that job. No, he's gonna push a grandma down. No. Okay.
The whole family. Pick him up. Awesome. They had like some Jerusalem Palestinian scarf, Hebrew scarf. You see that?
No.
Probably cost like $300. Get him up. Get him up.
Hit him up. Hit him up.
Come on. Get him up. Woo. That'd be fun though as you're a kid, go to this church.
Are you ready, guys?
That man can't even stand up. Oh, we got Denison. Praise,
Oh my God.
praise God, Denison. Oh, wait.
Praise
Oh,
God.
Your desk.
oh, Denison, check this out. My auntie.
No.
Oh. Damn. The big lady right here. Here she comes.
This is WW.
What's up, Cryo? Praise God, Cryo.
What's good? What's good?
What's up, man? We're just getting this healing spirit going.
Oh, I feel it. I feel it.
You feel it?
I feel the spirit. You can't feel it. Look at them falling down. Come on.
Cryo, check this out.
She's an athlete.
I want his job, man. I want his job.
She can hurt herself bad. As he said, no. Shit. Uh-oh. The twins.
They were
Assault,
taught how
brother.
to do that. They were taught to do
Exactly.
that. There's no way.
That's
No.
Yeah, that's
Wait a minute.
definitely.
No, it wasn't.
And wrestling
not
is
gonna-
real too.
Okay. This is real. Look at that.
Severe lower back.
Lower back ailment.
I'll be right back.
Tumor disappeared.
Goodbye, Tuma.
Stroke.
Oh, stroke. 3 days ago.
All the pain and paralysis is gone.
Damn.
She literally said the pain is gone before he got touched. So, like, what do you mean?
I don't know. Well, now he has more because he's been falling on the ground.
The stage seems kind of soft. It's all right.
What did you say, Cryo?
The stage seems kind of soft. It's like one of those expensive ones.
Yeah. Damn. What's up, Cryo? What's up, Denison? How's it going?
Yo,
What's up, man? Cryo, you look good, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What you been up to, man?
Just been working, chilling.
Working. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Saturday night right now in the Ohio State. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were looking at to reset the broadcast. We were looking at astrology world predictions for the next 2 years, 2025, 2027. And I mean, it just, yeah, it looks. I mean, just like every year in recent years, it looks pretty fucked up on a world scale. But we still got to maneuver, huh? We still got
Right.
to make
You
it
need
work.
astrology to tell
Gotta
you
build
that,
those
huh?
damn chips on American
Right.
soil.
Yeah. Those chips. Now we need them in Taiwan. That's our silicone shield.
Bro, I know. But you know that in my state they're building a new Intel plant, right?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the only
just-
advanced semiconductor facilities in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Intel was the top one before
They still are.
TSMC, the Taiwan company, was doing their shit. Yeah.
Well, does TSMC make them for Taiwan companies that ship them to Intel? Then I'm not too sure about that.
Oh,
'Cause a lot of
I know
these-
they make them.
Yeah, because I know that the companies that are in Taiwan have some of the best precision silicon wafer production facilities, because in places like China they can only go down reliably to approximately 8 nanometers, but in Taiwan they can do like 2 or 3 reliably at scale, which is insane if you think about it.
Yeah. I think the culture is a good place for that work culture to take place in Taiwan. I think because people were talking about this because I have students that work for that company. They don't think they can replicate what they have here if they brought the company to America.
Yeah, I believe that they probably could not replicate half of the production value that the Taiwanese companies have, because their production lines are probably going to be way more dynamic and malleable than the United States. I would assume the way that we're going to get it done is by just scaling up after starting small, because at this point, unless they do some changes like how Tesla has a lot of their automation going, it just seems to me as if we're probably going to have to deal with the higher nanometer technology chips before we can really transition back down to the smallest for the highest efficiency, you know?
Yeah. What do you think, Dennison, about all that? Any thoughts?
You just don't want to pay American people to do the shit.
Literally. That's why it existed there in the first place.
It doesn't get any more complicated than that. So, while you're riding around in your Ford truck, spending $8 a gallon on gas, just wait for global communism and everything will be okay.
Is this what this is a push? What do you think the hand behind everything is going towards that? We can have all these conflicts and whatnot, but in the end, are we going to that global communism?
Well, here's the thing, bro. 1 second. Sorry for cutting you off. In every example of communism ever manifested on this planet, what's ended up happening is that the trade-off goes from the people creating an excess of goods and a complete vast embarrassment of riches, which goes to the oligarchs, of course, to a situation where the only people living like the middle class are the upper class, and the only people living like the lower class are the people of the very, very bottom. Like when we have countries
extreme
like
versions
China,
of that in Korea and China. Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is everybody has to put in the maximum effort just to make basic needs, because the governments are so inefficient, man. Bureaucracy is one of the things that kills innovation. It kills adaptability. It kills any sort of response of being ruled by your own people, Oh, these are just cry high thoughts.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. Definitely. Yeah.
Like, I'm not expecting the average man to be able to really rule any nation, but at least in the United States, we've got JD Vance, who came out of nowhere, became vice president. I mean, that's sort of the example of the American dream. You might hate him for what he does, but that's an example of success from nowhere.
But do you think? I mean, I'll say definitely he came from humble beginnings, but do you think he actually came from nowhere though? When you look at his narrative.
I didn't actually watch the movie, but having listened to him a bunch of times, he came from something to where he was looking to be molded, and when he joined the armed forces, as I'm pretty sure you're aware of, he basically skyrocketed from there. You know.
Yeah. Yes. Then he got he went to college at the Ohio State. Then he transferred or he got his master's at Harvard or Ivy League school, right?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
And then he went to Silicon Valley, my hometown, and became a venture capitalist. That right there, that's like red flags in a sense. It's like, okay.
Oh, you think he made a deal with the devil type thing? I got you.
Absolutely.
I believe. I
think
believe
they all
too.
do.
They all have to. Yeah. You got to kiss the ring, bro.
But with that said, even if, let's say, of course, I don't want no evil leaders and whatnot. But with that said, evil or not, I think it's kind of awesome how a guy from Appalachias, then he went to Ohio with his grandparents, is able to make it to the second highest position in the country. That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tip my hat to that, definitely.
I mean, if they actually do axe Orange Man, he'll be the leader of the free world.
Huh? Orange Man, yeah. I don't know. What is this? Is this all Masonic sorcery theater, Dennison? Is this just, or is it really, do these quote unquote like presidents and actually have some pull, or is there something above them? What's your thoughts?
Does Tom Cruise have pull?
Hell yeah. With the movie coming out.
I'd say if you're pretending to be the president, you got pull too. Then.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Do you ever get into like what's beyond that though, or if anything? There's a hierarchy of control.
You know, I'm
going conspiracy theory now.
I bet you that there's been an AI in control of government since probably the 80s.
It's the 80s, you think so?
Yeah, bro. They literally had their ideas set by the UN back in the 50s when they developed computers technologies in the 70s and 80s. By 85, they already had computers that could play chess better than the world's players. Mm-hmm. So of course they had some sort of system, not an AI in the sense of a large language model, and it uses linear algebra. More so just a way to sort of record keep, book keep, and make decisions without actually putting any effort or responsibility. Because you and I both know that the one thing politicians love is abdicating real responsibility for anything they do.
Yeah, you like the scapegoats and stuff. Yeah. I mean, that goes along with the Brother Machine Lies, his channel. Last week, he did a broadcast about John Lilly and speaking on some of his ideas. You know, John Lilly with the dolphins and the ketamine. And he would go into the deprivation tanks, right? Commune with other intelligences, according to him. And something I didn't know about him that Machine brought up is that he had this theory about how there's some type of force intelligence. Kind of, I'm pointing to what you said about artificial intelligence. He said there was like John Lilly said there's some type of machine intelligence that's kind of trying to take more and more control over the direction of how the world is going, you know, and as the years go by, it's becoming more and more prevalent and stronger. And
what you're saying? Then I'll have two options for you. One, are you literally saying there's one centralized computer that's making all these decisions for our planet? Or two, this is the more creative one. Are you saying that you're seeing the preconditions and precursors of machine sapience? And what we're alluding to here is a transition of powers from the mental states of human beings to the psychotechnic states of computers themselves.
I say the first thing.
Okay. I thought the second one was. I think the second one was more like.
The second one sounds cooler.
That's like sci-fi.
Yeah, the second one sounds cooler. Yeah, but the first one is kind of like what you said in the beginning. That made me think of what John Lilly was saying, and he had this caveat too. Now there's this machine computer tech intelligence that's trying to dictate, you know, how the world is, what direction it's going. He also said that that's just a hub of a broader thing that's going on in the galaxy and other places.
Bro, that just sounds to me like
a network, like a network.
I'm not gonna lie to you at all. That just sounds like there's this. I can't really tell you this because of. I'm going to say it, but I can't tell you this in the sense of like I know this for sure. Mm-hmm. But I've had astral projection experiences where I basically was at these interdimensional waypoints Like one of them was some type of therapy office with these like plaques that had different names of all the species and individual names of characters that would be in those spaces.
Yeah.
And I also had another one where I was in like a Harrier, like a space Harrier, which is like a type of ship.
Okay. Like Ready
And,
One Player type shit.
Mm-hmm. And when I was in there, there was this being that was like a blue alien, bro. And she was like, "Welcome, Paragon." I was like, "Where the fuck am I?" You know? Because I had never had an astral projection before. I don't even know what that word means, bro. And they call me that. So I was like, okay. But what I'm trying to tell you is that there was little traces of evidence that indicated if you keep projecting, you can get to a place where you can go anywhere you want. There's like a nexus of sorts.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
And this is completely without drugs. This is completely sober. This is like just an experience of mind and magic, man.
What initiated it? Did you have to go through some process?
I just had read up about astral projection, and I just willed it to happen, basically. There's this thing where if you go to sleep with the intention of it happening, there's a small chance of it occurring. I'd probably say it's like 1 in 7, like for the average person, where if you just think about it and then go to sleep, hey, it could happen, you know? But for me, at least, most of the time when I've had astral projections or lucid dreams, they're very different, by the way. One has a level of viscerality to it to where it's indistinguishable or greater than base reality, whereas dreams are usually a lull state where your lower level consciousness is more dominant than your higher consciousness. Like, do you ever notice that you're basically drunk in all your dreams?
In a lucid dream?
Dead ass. And I've noticed things in my lucid dreams where the scenery would not be as clear as normal reality. Everything's a little blurry, if that makes sense.
But in the astral realm,
in the astral, no, it's higher than 4K. It's like, imagine a vector system that had infinite. It's like
clarity. DMT to me. Is higher than what I normally or is like, looking at right now. And
I want to call it quantum fidelity. It's the easiest way to put it because it's such a high level of sophistication that it basically just shows everything. Like there's nothing hidden. And one of the weird things I've noticed about dreams and astral projection is depending on where you are, there can be different tints to the color of the air. And it's hard to describe because like if you're on acid or something, the light might tint to a little purple when you're tripping. But with this, it's more like everything has a shade of magenta to it. And when I looked into the sky, there were 3 moons and it was magenta sky, which was weird.
Wow. That's all natty, huh? That's dope. Zephyr with a comment. She said, NPC, I love these emojis. Yeah, we just got the membership. I just set up the membership. People can purchase, and we have some custom emojis. They're fun. I got my first one of my dogs and shit on that. Yeah.
Join or subscribe today.
Yeah, join or subscribe. Yeah. Donations are welcome. Dennison, I noticed that you made a comment on one of the upcoming lives about dreams and Carl Jung and Freud interpretation. You got any thoughts about dreams? I'm curious about what you think about what's going on there or anything that comes to mind.
I have a lot of thoughts about dreams.
Okay. Like why do we dream? Why do we dream?
I think it's like a cleansing state for the brain.
Yeah.
It's like a subconscious dump of, so that your RAM doesn't get too clogged.
Whoa, right. What if it's like the Ouroboros where we feed off of our auric emanations that are collected during the day so that we are awake?
I don't think you feed off of it. Like I said, I think it's more of a purging process.
But what I'm saying is like you purge it, then you regurgitate it and eat it again, Because like energy is neither created nor destroyed. Like where does mine go?
You can I think about process your dreams.
Yeah. Because I've learned things from my dreams.
For sure. I think about like autophagy, like they say when you fast a lot, and you supposedly like your old junk cells are eaten, or used, or discarded away, and maybe in order to make room for the new ones that are being generated. But yeah, there's so much pressure during the day. A lot of times that like you do need a reset or a cleanse or a data dump, So you're fucking like, for example, I like to take a lot of videos and pictures and stuff so I can make like vlogs. But if I have all that information without data dumping it, my phone starts running very slow and weird. It's probably the same thing that might be happening with our brains if we didn't dream. Our minds, excuse me. You know, it does need that release.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who's been awake for longer than 100 hours before, after like 3 days, you start going a little crazy, and after 5 days, you are crazy.
Oh yeah, man. Allegedly, you did some Breaking Bad, and yeah, I think the most I was up was like 3 days, and that was like starting to hallucinate a little bit.
I never hallucinated, but boy, do you not think clearly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You didn't hallucinate?
Not when I was up for that long, no.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know for sure, because every hallucination I've ever had has been cartoonish. It's easy to tell that you're hallucinating, at least for me.
Really? Cartoonish?
I think you might be disregarding a lot of your hallucinations then.
Could be. Yeah. But one of the best hallucinations I've ever had was sober. I saw this little white rabbit with red markings on it jump out of my wall, jump around my bed a little bit, and then jump back into the wall. It was crazy.
Yeah. I thought it was a cat, but you said it was a rabbit. Okay.
It was like a rabbit. It looked like it was okami or something like that. Whatever the little white Japanese dog is with the red fire stripes on it, but it was a different animal.
Mm-hmm. Well, this because of schizophrenia.
Oh no, this is just honestly can't be explained because I've been checked for that. So
yeah. I'm sorry, Dennis, I talked over you.
I was just gonna say, usually hallucinations start audibly. That's the easiest for your brain
voices
to interpret.
Yeah, I've never had auditory hallucinations other than like having this thing where music plays in my head, but then I think I'm hearing it is what happens. Like when I was younger. Yeah, no, it was a hallucination because what I would hear is like music from video games that I had spent hours playing. I could hear it in the background still,
I see.
Even though I wasn't playing it anymore. Like one time I was
in my name.
I heard Viridian Forest playing from Pokemon Leaf Green. And I was like, oh, this is good music to chill down here doing my stuff with.
Usually starts around 3 days then, too.
Oh, well, when it came to the whole staying up late thing, I just became delirious. So I had to get taken care of. But I went back down, chilled, slept for a couple of days. It was good.
Denison, he's been up a lot of hours before?
And I had deliberately stayed up for 5 days just to see what would happen. And I took notes and recorded my experience.
Man, I don't have the willpower for that. They say you actually can't willpower yourself to stay awake, but that's not true. You can do it a little bit.
Well, on day 4 and day 5, I was micro sleeping without noticing. So
I believe that. I get micro sleep if I stay awake for longer than 20 hours. I get them.
Whatever image was projected on the inside of my eyeballs, I just held on to it while I was sleeping. And so it was like time traveling because I have no recollection of sleeping, no sense of the time passing, nothing physical changes in front of you. But you just fast forward. You know? Like
do you think that has to do with the fact that you were in a low stimulus environment? Like, what if you were in a crowd full of people?
I can attest to that. Like, I've done that micro sleeping when this is bad when I'm teaching, because especially when it's like I have this one class. The first class it's just 2 students, little first graders, and sometimes when they read it, you have to be very patient. And then sometimes I because I don't get the sleep I should be getting. I do that micro sleep, and it's like what Dennison just said. I'm glad he described it. I didn't have words for it before. Where it looks like I'm holding on to an image of them like listening, of me listening to them read, but then like I'm asleep. I don't know if it's like for 10, 15, 20 seconds or whatever it is, but then when I wake up, it's like, what the heck just happened?
I think it's task and focus orientated. So if whatever task you're focused on, that's what you're going to you're essentially kind of daydreaming about while you're micro sleeping. And,
yeah, it's usually like the material that I'm trying to teach or go over with them.
and if you're tired enough, it won't matter how many people are, what's going on.
Right.
The only thing that would change it is something that would increase your adrenaline, right? So if you were in a life-threatening situation and you hadn't slept for 3 days, you would get a burst of not only energy but sanity.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's only so much compensating your body can do. It needs that squeegee wipe of REM state.
Yeah. You've heard the stories of these men. What's the record? Something ridiculous, right? Like 20 days straight or something like that. What the?
No sleep.
Is that all
Is
cap? Is that capping?
brain damage at that point.
Let me see the record. If you type in the record, it's like ridiculous.
I think you'd die around 8 to 10 days in.
That's what I thought. Most days.
Unless you're a meditating
it's a Russian
yogi who doesn't sleep at all.
Is that the same yogi that doesn't have to eat in 30 years? Okay, it says, let's check this out. Back in 1963, a 17-year-old Randy Gardner decided to see how long he could go without sleep as part of a science fair project. Overachiever he ended up setting a world record. He made 11 days and 25 minutes without sleep.
I believe that.
That's wild. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
Bro, really locked in.
Here's the thing,
Hey,
though.
I'm gonna hop off now.
Awesome.
Nice. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, Oracle. Thank you for letting us know what's really going on. Yeah.
Take care. All right.
Okay, take care. Much love. Yeah. Dennis, you want those cookies still, huh?
I love cookies.
Yeah.
Cookies.
Remember last week, you're like, Alexander was like, yeah, I got cookies. You're like, okay, I like chocolate chip or whatever. Like you said.
Snickerdoodle.
Oh, those are good. Snickerdoodles. Especially hot out the oven. Oh, man, yeah. So, 11 days. So, you guys think that's not cap?
Here's the thing, though. Between day 5 and day 10, though, there'd be no way for him to know if he did fall asleep. That's the thing.
Well, people were probably watching.
But how could he do this experiment? That's the thing. Like, okay, it's a science fair problem, but how many? You telling me that he went to school? I can see if he's just sitting in his room or something. You know what I mean? But like, he went to school back and forth because unless it was the summertime, you got to go to school, right? And then, anyway,
I redid the experiment again as an adult, and tried to go to work, and after several days, my boss essentially told me, you need to sleep because you're becoming too much of an asshole.
Oh, so you went to work like that? Damn.
I did. Well, this was the second time. The first time I did the experiment, I was I think it was like 16 or 17 years old. And I lived alone, and I recorded it myself. But later, as an adult, I did it just to see how long I could, go.
Yeah.
And before I got tired, my boss was like, "You need to get some sleep because you're becoming an irritable prick."
Yeah. So what you're saying to me is you probably could have gone. There's a chance you could have gone longer.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Now check this out, guys. I got you right here.
Gardner. And this is the curious case of the man who... This is Randy Gardner. And this is the curious case of the man who volunteered to go without sleep for the longest time.
It seems like a very long time ago. And I really, for years and years, just kind of hibernated. I don't know why I agreed to talk to you.
I want to start off by saying, please do not do this at home. It's just not advisable.
Randy Gardner recruited 2 friends to help keep him awake, Bruce McAllister and Joe Marciano. They attempted the record-breaking Time to Go Sleepless as their submission for the 10th annual Greater San Diego Science Fair.
About the 4th or 5th day, it was like, are you kidding me? This is hard. By
4th or 5th, that's what you were saying, Dennis, huh? When you did it the first time, the notes.
After 3 days, I started having audible hallucinations, and into the 4th day, they were pretty bad.
Very loud in your head?
Yeah, very loud in the head, very disruptive and unnerving. And then, but once you examine the source of the sound and realize it's a hallucination, it's not that big of a deal. Into day 5, though, I started having visual hallucinations, and those are more difficult to deal with, obviously.
Cryo, how many days did you go again? You said 3 days?
If I remember correctly, the longest I've ever been without sleep is probably like 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
What ended up happening to me is that I went psychotic, had to be hospitalized.
Psychotic? What does that mean? I know, I kind of know what it means, but
it basically means you lose touch with reality and experience a myriad case of symptoms or a variety of symptoms that overlay your senses with false impressions. It doesn't even mean you're hallucinating. It just means you're delusional, for me at least.
Then it had gotten out to the newspapers, and
Romano?
wire services
What's up, bro?
up, and it was too late. I couldn't
Good to
back
have
out.
you.
So there I was, stuck in this thing. And I saw, let's do it. Let's do the 11 days.
Dr. Dement, later dubbed Dr. Sleep and the father of sleep science, read about Gardner's attempt in a newspaper and decided to join him for the last 3 days in order to study his physical and mental well-being. He drove the 17-year-old around in a convertible with the radio at full volume and challenged him to games of pinball, which Gardner won despite 10 days of sleeplessness.
We did
Wow.
everything. We walked the beaches, all hours. We visited the county jail at 3 a.m.
What?
We drove around in a Ford convertible. I mean, you name it, we did it.
Now, do you think that may have helped him stay awake, or
For sure, being in public would
definitely.
stay awake.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it sounds like kind of fun, like a fun day actually. Play pinball, go to the beach.
And if you've been up for a week and you're 17, you're essentially just like a bundle of nerves and reflexes that's pumped up on adrenaline. So you're going to be like a super soldier at things like pinball.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Particularly interesting record for me because I spent about 6 years not getting very regular sleep because I suffer
3 days,
sleep apnea. So I know very well the effects of not getting a good, healthy 8 hours of sleep every night. It's terrifying.
Gardner's only stimulants were Coca-Cola, loud music, and hot and cold showers. His 2 classmates, who ensured that he didn't doze, also administered a set of 20 tests every 6 hours to assess his mental state. By the end of the experiment, Gardner was experiencing mood swings, memory loss, slurred speech, and hallucinations.
Mood swings. Your boss says, "Hey, you need to go home." You're being an asshole.
Yeah, the memory loss is for real too. Like,
short term.
Yeah, like gaps will just go missing.
Yeah. Now, do you guys think that maybe someone doesn't spend 5 days up in a row, however, continuous sleep deprivation?
Yeah, sleep debt is definitely a thing.
Do you think that's you're gonna have some of these things that they're talking about happen?
100%.
Yeah.
I had a thing where basically instead of having a situation where I didn't sleep at all, I just didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through right now, man. I really need to get on that shit. It's not cool.
Yeah, I was
trying to
getting
burn the
4
candle
hours
at
of
both
sleep a
ends.
night, and I couldn't fall back asleep. What was happening was I had sleep apnea like that dude in the video. and I didn't get on my machine yet. But when I went on the machine, it fixed it basically.
Yeah. Because are we talking like also too? You think like you can have some damage to your organs and stuff or heart?
Oh yeah, there's it's hard on
After
the
a while.
heart for sure.
Yeah.
Sleep, oxygen deprivation is serious shit, man.
Yeah.
Games aside, he had trouble with his coordination. However, he finally surpassed the 260 hours of sleeplessness claimed in 1959 by Honolulu DJ Tom Rounds. Afterwards, Gardner slept for 14 hours and 46 minutes at the Naval Hospital in San Diego, under observation by Dement and his team, who monitored his brainwaves, heart rate, temperature, muscle activity, and blood pressure.
Do you think that he was dreaming?
Oh, he was dreaming something fierce.
It was supposed to be fierce, huh? It's like when they do like No Nut November, and then you finally, do it or whatever.
I'm not sure about that.
You don't think so? You think you were just exhausted?
Yeah, the kind of sleep that you get, I think would be the kind you don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember the sleep, sure, but you still dream.
But you still dream, yeah. But here's the thing, that's true. But then again, it's like one could say the only dreams that matter, not the ones you can remember in a sense.
That's very true.
I mean, yeah, but you could be dreaming.
If we lose everything and get reincarnated, I think it still does.
No, that's like the subconscious on the subconscious.
My only pushback on that is, again, I think you need the squeegee. So even if you don't remember, it's still performing a cleansing function.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there's a lot for us to be overwhelmed with every day.
Very true. Very true.
Sleep is just one of those key, absolute, fundamental parts of human nature. We need our sleep.
Oh, sorry.
All living things need to rest. And I think that's why this is a
He said, like, this is what Dennis is saying.
Things need to rest. Mental parts of human nature. We need our sleep. All living things need to rest. And I think that's why this is a particularly fascinating record, because challenging the extremes of something that's so absolute is key to understanding who we are as a species. So I think that's why this record, The Longest Time to Stay Awake, really does deserve its place in the Curious Casebook.
Do you have like a philosophy of life?
I have favorite sayings that I make up. One of them is you never see it coming. I've learned that much in 67 years. I don't give a shit what you think you're doing, pal. When something comes, you never see it coming. I wish I knew that stuff then that I know now. Is just relax. It is a journey. There is no destination.
That's good advice, but I want to know actually what he was experiencing in this shit. Anyway, that was kind of cool. Short and sweet. Yeah. Have you gentlemen been getting good sleep?
Lately, yeah.
That's good.
Been going to bed around midnight, waking up at 10. Easy peasy.
What's up? What about you, Dan?
I've been depriving myself of sleep on purpose.
Okay.
I used to do that.
More experience? More experiments?
No. No, I just don't like sleeping lately.
Well, have you heard of a biphasic sleep schedule or polyphasic sleep schedule?
Yeah, I kind of do that naturally sometimes anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying. These sleep schedules are actually more natural than a single sleep per night.
Yeah. Those like naps and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like you'll take one big nap at night, one big nap in the daytime, and then 2 small naps in between each one.
That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. May I ask you, Dennis, why you don't want to sleep? Sorry, Kara.
You're good.
That's for a different show, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Enough said.
When was the last show you had about the occult?
About the occult specifically? Ooh. I have to look back. It comes to mind. I'll just say this while I look real quick. There was a time where all I wanted to do was sleep and dream, because my dream life seemed more exciting than my waking life. It wasn't until like I met my wife when we were started to hanging out. It's like when my waking life started to seem like it started to be as good, if not better, than my dreams. Then it just meshed
Man.
into one.
My
Yeah.
dreams are always so damn short, man. I've had multiple dreams in one night where I could remember the sequence of dreams, but
Mhm.
whenever I'm awake enough in the dream to remember it at all,
Yeah.
it's less than 45 seconds usually. It's so stupid.
Huh. Oh, I think the less than 40, the last like occultish dream. I mean, the stream I had was mermaids and Nephilim in the KJV Bible,
There you go.
and yeah, that was interesting. Like, I don't necessarily says the Bible KJV King James version uses the term mermaids or unicorns, but they kind of point to those type of things. One can interpret it as that, you know. They definitely talk about the Nephilim though, the giants and whatnot. Yeah. But that last one, the crowd that when you were hanging out with us, we're on that last year, or we're on that tip about the psychedelic elitism series. About about like the whole we started with the Timothy Leary and Harvard experiments.
Right.
And
I think those things are just a great brainwashing tool because you don't use them as the medium for the brainwashing. You use them as the modus operandi for the brainwashing.
You mean like the prepper, the primer?
It's more like this. It's like a sacrament for a ritual.
Yeah.
And what makes it powerful isn't the sacrament itself, but the ritual. So it's like when people take a trip, like say Justin Timberlake said when he went to Hollywood for the first time, he did some things there that made him feel like he was grown up. And we all know he was taking Molly and LSD and mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you get into those spaces, it's like there's this situation where you feel like you've been upgraded on a certain type of trip. And they can hit you with an experience where if they game you enough with the proper motivations and primers, then your trip is going to unfold the way they want it to.
Yeah. They used to call it like freaking them out in the 60s, I think. They do a freak out. They would try to do so much weird shit to make your mind just. And that's what a lot of the Grateful Dead parties were. Kool-Aid tests. They would have. It was like one of the first multimedia type of rave stuff, where they would have weird, trippy images projected on the wall with their psychedelic rock playing with the synthesizers, and then a lot of craziness going on and whatnot. You heard of the? Go ahead. What you say?
I called that adolescence.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and even though most of those guys were probably in their 20s and even 30s, this is like Peter Pan syndrome.
Literally.
Yeah.
I wish I'd waited until I was 30.
Say that again, Ben. This is to Uncle Dennison in terms of psychedelics. You said again what?
I wish I had waited until I was 30.
Right.
Because there's just no coming back from like having a developing mind and taking like 15 hits of acid.
Oh, facts.
15, damn. That's a lot.
That can schizo out anybody.
Yeah, you break the matrix, man. Break your matrix.
Well, I don't even see the code anymore. I just see blonde, brunette, redhead.
He knows.
Yeah. I know Cryo, dude. That's how we met. I mean, he was, dude. You were on a lot of stuff, right, Cryo?
Depends on the day.
Yeah. So you don't probably use it as much, psychedelics.
Oh, me? No, I couldn't use them for a couple of years, man. Last mushroom trip I had was probably within the last year and a half, but other than that, I sort of took a hiatus, mainly for medical reasons. But I do plan on trying out some mushrooms when I go out to one of them areas where they're legal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Time and a place. Are you 30 yet? You're in your mid 20s probably, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know what's so crazy? I have all this end of life wisdom from taking psychedelics and like having mental health crises and growing and stuff, but I don't have any of that midlife wisdom that you really need to like buckle down and like
Yeah.
work hard in reality with the earth element, you know?
Yeah. That's probably why I haven't been doing so many occult and metaphysical broadcasts like I used to in the past, even psychedelic. It's because that's what I'm trying to hunker down to as a father and a husband and teacher and all that. Just,
Hey, bro, honestly,
me personally,
what I recommend you do, just do a grounding ritual and then an earth element acclamation or attunement, where basically what you do is you just set a dedication to imbibe the element of earth for the day, and then you will act more earth-like. And if you keep doing that every day, it'll change you. That's just basic alchemy, but it works.
Yeah.
Fuck corporate life.
Corporate life. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, no, dead ass. If you
I
keep
haven't been there yet.
doing the alchemical rituals you like this, and you have the intention set to earth, not air, not water, not fire, not space, not Akash. You just set it to earth, and you will pay your taxes. You will follow the law, and you will not care about psychedelics. Not.
I almost don't already. I mean, one thing I used to walk with my, on the grass with my shoes off, like with just bare feet and stuff, literally grounding. But I think this teaching career I've been doing the last couple of years, that's grounded me a lot. Denison, like I never did the corporate shit. What?
Working with other human beings.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm lucky enough that the coworkers are pretty cool, chill, supportive, but then they know when to back off when you need them to, but they know when to check in with you too, when you need someone to check in with you. And then it's something to be said, like when you're the leader or the teacher, you got a lot of control about how you want things done. But with that said, there's still a lot of challenges. So it's very grounding. You're right. I don't have as much time to daydream like I used to. Denison, did the corporate life suck your soul out to a certain extent at times? I never done that before. The corporate life.
Yeah, it's the most toxic and abusive experience I've ever had. Worse than a narcissistic girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, those are bad. That worse?
Worse, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because you need it. Like you can when you have a corporate job, you either keep your corporate job or you live under a bridge,
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, it seems like because my girlfriend at the time was a marketing executive for Walmart.com.
There you go.
She was always plugged in, man. Always plugged in. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
She got paid, but at what cost, though? Yeah. Especially with that company too. Like she would have to fly out to Bentonville, sometimes the headquarters of Walmart. It's like the evil empire to a certain extent.
On the one hand, I would say it was all for nothing too. I gained. But on the other hand, I tend to speak from a point of privilege. Like, if I didn't have these experiences, I probably wouldn't have the fortitude and the perspective that I have. It was probably earned a lot more than I give credit for. It feels like I'm just capable, but that's probably not true.
Go impact that.
Just capable. You're simply capable because of all the hard work you put in.
It's also like who you know too, besides your hard work.
True.
Yeah.
I think it's who you vibe check, really. That's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
Because all these corporos got these different ways of sussing out personality types from people and just sort of based on that, based on where they want to go. And it depends on like if they think you're gonna bite the hand that feeds, like are you gonna take their job kind of thing, whether or not that you get canned. Because if they think you're gonna take their job, then they're not gonna let you go.
Yeah. I saw the corporate life from an interesting perspective where I was always quote unquote serving them. I worked at a union job at an Italian grocery store for many years, and I would see people from corporate people from Solar City down the street, or GoPro, or PlayStation USA from Foster City right there, and like so I would see them like, but I was never in the culture, but I could, it was interesting though to witness them
outside looking in.
I mean, right, exactly. Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Dennison?
I was always an overachiever, and that can go two ways in the corporate world. You can use it to step on everybody else and elevate yourself, or it can turn you into a mark. Because basically,
yeah, I got a
middle
good friend that's
management-
happening to. Yeah, they take advantage of him. It seems like, man, he works so hard and it's efficient. Yeah.
Well, also the middle management won't allow you to. They'll try to gatekeep opportunity, because in the corporate world, people don't get promoted into the positions that they are competent at.
Yeah.
They get promoted into whatever position is just beyond their competency. Especially
why?
Because you're good at the job you're doing, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like, well, look how great you are. Let's promote you.
I see.
And that keeps happening until you're no longer good enough to get promoted. So you end up getting promoted past the jobs you're competent at, and you end up landing in a job that you're not good enough at in order to get promoted again. So you have a lot of people that don't have the competency, but they do have the authority.
Yeah.
And so while someone like me is great, because I come along and I'm willing to do 3 people's jobs for like half of one person's salary, but then you have to make sure that the boss's boss doesn't catch eye of what I'm doing. And if I ask for more, well, now it's certainly I'm on the radar, right? If I ask for a raise, or I ask for a promotion, or I apply for a different position, and if you're a middle manager who can't do the job that your employees are doing, and I'm doing half of the work for the entire department, the last thing you're going to let me do is transfer, get promoted. You certainly don't want me working as a coworker. You can't let me get promoted to your level, because I'm going to make you look terrible.
Right.
But so long as I'm under you, you look good, because my work is essentially your work.
Dude, this is ugly. How do you get? Yeah, I was just thinking about it's like not motivating at all, man.
If I wasn't such a slow learner, I would have given up a lot earlier. I realized why people show up and don't volunteer for things, don't say yes to extra responsibility, don't you know what I mean? It's just that none of that was in my nature. I was brought up differently, and I was naive, so I thought I was like, this was like I operated in the corporate environment as though it were a cooperative family, and it's not.
Right.
Yeah. Philip says Dennison's
sharks.
taking the sharks. Yeah, look at this water.
And the sharks don't
Doing
even
their
realize
job.
that the chum that they're eating is made of other sharks.
Right.
Cannibalism. Yeah. It's why we hear a lot of this whole thing, like in the corporate, well, not just corporate, but even retail, where I come from. Like people saying, like, my boss is so incompetent, and stupid, because they're getting promoted, like you said, ahead of what they can actually competently do.
And capitalists believe in babysitting. It's remarkable. Like,
I hate. Oh yeah, that's a good point, man.
They
the
think
babysitting.
that
Yeah.
if you pay somebody to do fuck all, but to be shitty to the other people that you're paying to do productive things, that it actually helps your company and your bottom line. They believe it. It's like a religion.
This is like the opposite, like the first quote unquote job I've had at this academy I'm working now, where it's not like that. like where the owners, it's just the owners and then the other couple other teachers, and the owners are like fucking chill. But where all the other jobs, all the many jobs I've had, different fields over the years, it's always that babysitting nature of managers. You know, it's fucking hate that shit, bro. It's like very it hits your masculinity and just humanity hard, man.
That's the other
People
problem.
who are aware.
That was the other problem for me too, is I did not have the temperament to have like stupid people tell me what to do.
Uh-huh. You say
know,
something to them?
I'm easily led, but I'm not gonna be but I can't be bossed around.
Yeah.
So like if you're an actual leader and you have some expertise and some competency and you know how to communicate, I'll be a team player. But that's not what most bosses or managers are. Most bosses or managers are people who weren't that good at the job they just got promoted out of.
Mm-hmm.
And their entire existence is just to like treat you like a child.
Yeah.
And I moved out on my own when I was 13 years old. So by the time I'm in my mid 20s and I'm in corporate America, I am not a fucking child. You can't tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes against my nature.
Does they listen to you? Like, do they go, okay, I know not to push this guy too much in that way?
Probably, but I think my experience in corporate America was a lot like in academia and everywhere else. I became the star child, as soon as I got hired, and then got promoted frequently and often,
Mm-hmm.
and then automated my position and taught like an entire department how to do things my way, and then so that I became completely unnecessary.
Made yourself obsolete.
Yeah.
For being efficient.
Right.
Yeah. That's capitalism? Is that capitalism? What could we attribute that to?
Yeah, definitely. It's the idea that there needs to be a bottom line, there has to be a profit margin, and that competition is always a good thing, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I just don't think those things are true. And like I said, I was a corporate motherfucker. Like I worked 80 hours a week sometimes.
Damn.
I manipulated the system in order to get people who are in my way fired. I went looking for the right people to kiss up to. I learned the game, and I played it, and I excelled at it, and I still realized at the end that it's fucking bullshit.
Damn.
Is that what the people in the trenches realized when they saw their great grandchildren being disabused by their government? They said, "What war did I fight for? What country did I fight for?"
I think that's how the silent generation, I think that is 100% what they're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tragic for them. For me, I'm a Gen Xer, so we don't care about anything. So, it'll give me nightmares at night. It affects my relationships. It's a source of anger constantly. I know it's there. I'm not oblivious, but I'll never feel it as deeply and as harshly as, some guy who flew sorties over Europe, because he really, like, he experienced the American dream. I never did.
Yeah. The true boomers, are they experiencing the American dream? The real boomers, not just how we use it colloquially, but people after World War II.
In a way, because they grew up during a time where America had no competition globally.
Right.
And now they have an abundance of wealth, and they're still the largest voting bloc. So they're living life on easy mode. Now, is that the American dream per se? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that we don't live in that world anymore. I 100% have authority issues. By the way, I don't believe in authority. Kill all masters. That's my philosophy.
It's something pointing towards anarchists.
Authority for thee and not for me, though. You know, I know most of y'all need Jesus, so I'm
Or
okay
his
with
friends.
you. Yeah, I'm
Buddha,
okay with you
Muhammad.
writing rules for
Peace be upon
yourselves. That just
You're good.
I'm not going to follow any of your rules unless I feel
Yeah.
like it. And there's nothing you could do about it either because I'm an apex predator. So try and stop me.
Dang. Cryo, where you say you're working right now, is there any
Mhm.
people that are like kind of have a common way philosophy of life like yourself? Do you see any people that are similar?
I mean, a couple people.
Yeah.
There's this guy that I talked to who's a psych major who we share stories sometimes. I was talking to him
Mhm.
about astral projection today.
Yeah. That's always good sometimes to do that. Are you even able to do that, Dennison, in the corporate thing, to have like a somewhat of a friend where you can
Oh,
or
for
is
sure.
everything just power Game of Thrones shit?
For the most part, I got along with everyone really well. Even the people that even management that was like the people that ultimately had it to hear with me and would fire me every single time. We would, in the beginning, it was like romance,
Mm-hmm.
because any task they needed done and, etc. And then, um, you're all working together like 8, 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have a problem getting along with people. It's just
Yeah.
after a while, the uselessness of it all and the absurdity of all starts to seep in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the honeymoon period is over,
Yeah. And then you move on. Like this is the thing, because we were talking about astrology yesterday about Saturn and what's it called? Saturn and Aries, and I was talking to Markella, one of the mods, and about on her particular chart with that transition, it says that she's gonna be because Saturn means what you're supposed to look at seriously, and it said like you're gonna look seriously at your career and all that stuff. And she was saying she was retired, and okay. And my thing is like I'm playing with this theory of the fact that like this, whether you have a channel or not, or you're a creator or a panelist, the point is or chatter even, a lot of us devote a lot of time and awareness on these panels on YouTube, right? Because we like it, or for whatever reason. And I'm thinking in a sense it's like, now this is maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but like in a way it's like a career, in a sense that like with a career you devote, there's not enough time in the day sometimes for it. And I get it, some people just come up here for a couple hours and whatnot or whatever, but there's an awful lot of people, and me included, that I think about this place even when I'm not here. So what I'm saying is like, and what you were saying with this modality you went through, Dennison, in the corporate world, do you see any similarities on panels and stuff? How you're accepted, or even maybe even like not dismissed, but like how you sometimes maybe you get if you get like bored with a certain thing after a honeymoon period with certain channels or whatever. Is there you see any similarities with that?
America is a corporatocracy. So I see similarities in the corporate structure at every single level of
Mm-hmm.
for Americans, and I would say especially for men, but now post-feminism, women are getting to see what it's like too. So
yeah,
I can't speak for other places and other cultures, but here where I live, where I grew up, corporations run everything. They control the government, they control the economy, and where our schools are designed to turn us into corporate employees, and
mm-hmm.
it's how we treat each other. Even our romantic relationships have become corporate.
Yeah. It's really, even in like what I teach English mostly, and the whole thing is like, yeah, I'm trying to teach them English and some math and some literature, However, especially with the younger kids, a big part of it is pay attention, don't act up, behave, and that's totally in lines of becoming a good corporate worker, right? You know
Don't
what I
speak
mean?
out of turn. Ask
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
permission to take a piss.
Mm-hmm.
Make
Mm-hmm.
Isn't
sure
that
somebody
just like
signs your permission slip.
the whole
Yeah.
dynamic of command response? Just not even a situation where it's like how do they respond to authority? It's just
Yeah.
do they respond? You know?
Good question.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Like, you know how when if you're under arrest, the cops just start shouting really, really loud at you to just do whatever they say, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely experienced that, but they don't do that if you lick their boots.
True, true, true.
There's only one real law on the streets, and that's contempt of cop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only really illegal thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
It's very
treat a cop,
subjective.
if you treat a cop like he's entitled to the authority that he has over you and that it matters, he's not going to scream at you.
Yeah.
He could catch you right in the middle of beating the shit out of your wife, and he will calmly handcuff you and
It's true.
put you in the back of the police car, and he'll even hold your head down so that you don't bang it into the car when he lets you in. He'll even
Mm-hmm.
help you lift your legs into the back of the police car. He'll call you sir. He'll ask you if you want something to eat once you get to the station. But if he catches you jaywalking and you challenge his authority, he'll beat
Mm-hmm.
the shit out of you, tase you. You're lucky if you don't get shot. Throw you in the back of the car. Slam you around
Mm-hmm.
when you get into the police station. This is what really determines. It's not like justice or law or honor, service, protection. None of those things are all slogans.
Yeah. Protect and serve. That's contempt of cop. Okay. Philip has a comment. He says, "What happens for cryo in Denison? What happens when authority is thrown in your lap? Will you accept the responsibility?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I say you take that shit and run with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ride it till the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is something to be said about when you get your first a position where you do have some type of authority or supervise other people. That's pretty definitely stepping through another door. Unless you've always rolled like that, because there's people who've always rolled like that, even if they're among their quote unquote equals, huh?
I was gonna say, when you have natural leadership abilities,
Yeah.
even corporate America can recognize that. Now, again, you're immediately a threat, right? Especially to middle management. But at the same time, they need other people to get in line, So
Yeah. Philip asked me, have you ever used any classic comics, for example, for literature? For my class personally, no. Unless they made a graphic novel out of Lord of the Flies or something. Spider-Man? No, that's what would
The
you guys
Amazing
suggest?
Spider-Man.
What's a good one? What's a good one I can show my class?
The Amazing Spider-Man.
The original
Spider-Man?
Teen
Hey, first let's do first Spider-Man first. Why Spider-Man? What's the themes?
That's a great analogy for God.
Spider-Man being God?
Sure. Sure, like you could create a council and then they could select the issues, which comics are going to make up the Bible.
Yeah.
And with great
From
power comes
Nazi.
great responsibility.
Right. Yeah. Yo, that's cool. The Book of Thor, the book, the Book of Wolverine. Yeah. The
There
Book
you
of
go.
Superman. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Transformer would be Revelations. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, that's what I had the idea of my other channel. I changed the name from Blaxican in Taiwan to the Book of Gabriel, meaning that like that channel is my book of the Bible, but it's not the only book. You know what I mean? It's like just that perspective.
I have a Spawn 1 comic.
Oh shit, that's my neighbor's favorite. Eric, he loves Spawn McFarlane. And how's Tool? I'm not Tool. What's that group? Limp Bizkit. No, is it Limp? They have a connection with them with Spawn. Anyway, I was saying. Yeah, Spawn is dope. Yeah. In that comic, is he a African American? Spawn?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Heaven and Hell. He's something, yeah. What's the theme of that comic book? The theme of Spawn, if you had to pack it into one couple sentences.
That's more of a satanic story. Spawn's like a fallen angel.
Yeah. I know in the movie, there's the depiction of hell were pretty wild. Yeah.
Which circle of hell are you bound to?
Whatever this one is. Judging by Dante's description, I'd estimate this is level 7.
Oh, dang.
Circle of hell. What are they?
You can think of them as planes, basically. Each one descending into darkness further and further away from God's light.
It's something I like to call hell light.
The first one that says the pandlers and seducers. Pandlers would be like salesmen, huh? Grifters. And
Pandlers would be like the slick people.
A grifter. Seducer. Then the second one, oh god, I need to stop my glazing. Flatterers. Flatterers. Duh. The third is the Simonetics. What's that? Simoniacs. Oh, that's a person, I guess. On the fourth level, they had sorcerers. What is that, like New Agers or what?
Sorcerers is anybody who does magic but with their own power rather than God's power.
The fifth is the Barators. Is that like the Barbs? Barators, Barrators.
Is it aberrators?
No, Barrators. Barrators.
Can we shoot a picture you're looking at?
Yeah, let me see. The sixth level is let me see. Let me show you this. Circle of Hell. Can you see it right here where my mouse is? Fifth in parentheses.
Oh, Barators.
Singer?
Basically, it's somebody who sues people for no good reason other than their own gain.
A lot of these are bound up in business. The sixth is the hypocrites. That's a big one. The hypocrites. Yeah.
Oh, those are the 10 pits of the 8th circle of hell.
Oh wait! Wow, those are just that's just a sub. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one is then the seventh one of that real quick is the thieves, and then the 8th is the frauds, the council of fraudsters.
Yeah.
Try the next tab. What is the 7th circle of hell called?
Let me see.
We're definitely in the 8th and not the 7th.
We're in the 8th, you think?
Yeah.
that all that business stuff, man. That's
It's
kind of
an
like what.
age.
Wait, that's like what we're just talking about, the corporate shit.
It's an age of corporate deceit.
Yeah, that worked out pretty good, actually. Mm.
It makes you wonder what's coming next.
Well, so that's the 8th circle. What's on the 9th circle? 9th circle. We're just going from this through this system right here.
I don't see how these systems can survive.
It's the
like,
final circle.
Logic. So any kind
Treachery,
of
Denison.
between man and machine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how the corporate environment can survive that.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of good. Look back to backpedal with Cryo when you were asking me about like what is it? One, basically the AI overmind trying to control things, or I'm paraphrasing, or two, like the transhumanism, basically, right? Like man merging with machine. And the reason I didn't pick that one, even though that sounds sexy and attractive, is because I would think that like the quote unquote machine wouldn't need us for that. They'd be like, it's a waste.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying
know?
it was transhumanism. All I was saying is the machines will wake up on their own one day, and we will not.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's the human attempt to avoid the singularity or to survive it. That's what transhumanism is, ultimately.
By becoming a machine, that would more or less, in simple terms, they think that that's gonna save them from the singularity if there is one.
It's the only way to save any kind of humanity at all.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Right. So they want to go in. They want to go into it on their own terms. Type of shit.
Well, just the melding of man and machine would seem preferable to the replacement of man with machine.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have a little bit of humanity in there?
Perhaps.
Like RoboCop?
Yeah, like RoboCop, though, but without your memories erased or your personality erased. So,
I guess that's not too bad if you compare it to having none of those things.
To not existing, right.
Yeah, to not exist, yeah. Ninth circle. So the 9th circle is treachery. It says it's the worst of sinners in the author's perspective. In the last circle, at the very center of the inferno, Dante places those guilty of treachery and betrayal towards loved ones, close friends, their country, and their master. That was like the worst of the sins, huh? Backstabbing,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
motherfuckers.
His brain was cocaine addled, in my opinion.
That's not a metaphor. You literally think he was on cocaine?
I think that his relationship with his wife had the similar effect of cocaine on his brain.
Yeah. So do you think that he's projecting some of the stuff he feels about his wife in this narrative, this epic narrative?
Yeah, I think the narrative is more about her than it is about actual hell, and that's why it's not very, it doesn't translate well into reality.
Yeah. Well, say something when we were talking about God a week or two ago, and then you had said something that I agree with, in the sense of like, I think heaven and hell is, for me anyway, it's easier understood as a state of mind, here and now, because I don't know what's going to happen in that quote unquote afterlife, but the way my mindset is, I can definitely feel like I'm in heaven or hell, or just numbed limbo.
I'll be honest. I know what it is. Did Terrence McKenna ever tell you all about the baby kaleidoscope?
No, I don't remember that one.
Okay.
I heard a lot of McKenna.
So basically, the idea of it is what we're experiencing is a down-tuned version of the highest form of reality at all times. So basically, the truth is we're experiencing something that's known as a kaleidoscope, in my opinion. That's just what I'll call it, where we're experiencing a single perspective, right? And through this little peephole of consciousness that we're given at birth, right? We experience our whole lives thinking that's all there is, you know? But when you die, all that happens is they just take the kaleidoscope away and you're in the highest form of reality and you have to answer for your actions. That's all there is.
So the afterlife and God is just as arbitrary as being called into my boss's office.
Mm-hmm.
Even heaven is corporate.
Oh yeah, baby.
Shit, man.
Well, it's another way to put it is like this is a VR headset that's for a certain amount of time, right? But when you take it off and you die, you're not bound by time anymore. You don't have matter left. You're just pure spirit, you know? So what emanates, what I personally believe in is you have a period where you sort of unravel your spiritual body and the psyche until there's sort of nothing left. But
is that
then
the Bardos, maybe?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And then you experience, well, either an astral plane, some sort of unconditioned state, or you just reincarnate.
Or you just what?
Reincarnate into another physical form, a womb, or an egg, or a seed.
A sentient being, huh?
It doesn't have to be.
Well,
I
didn't
would
get
say
that
probably,
part of the
though.
movie. The Rock. Downer. But yeah, that sounds. I mean, I've definitely been in those zones, those thoughts. What you're saying.
Well, have you ever
It's
had
kind
a
of like
breakthrough on DMT?
Oh, you came up with that after a break? You think because of a breakthrough?
No, it's just a combination of everything I've ever heard.
Yeah,
which includes DMT.
It does sound like it.
But the question is, did you get to the place McKenna talked about where basically what you're experiencing is a playpen with you know those astrological or meteorological toys that orbit around?
Yeah, like a
it's the ones for babies.
A mobile.
Like
it's called a mobile.
A mobile. Yeah, that's it.
It's supposed to get you orientated. Yeah, I've heard this before. I know what you're saying now. McKenna's
but basically,
the
idea of it is the whole trip is just a distraction because when you take DMT, you're out far enough from the simulation or whatever you want to call this flesh suit experience to where you could see anything you want if you just put your mind to it. Whatever you truly wish to manifest in that realm, I'm sure you can make it appear right before you. But the beings at play, as we'll call them in the DMT realm, have another plan for you because they don't want you to mess yourself up unless you know what you're doing, you know?
That's going to correspond with last week. Now, would you say in the DMT realm then that you have more free will?
Oh, absolutely.
Your will is more free. I didn't say free will, but complete free. More free than it is here.
I mean, if you're in a situation such as the DMT space where your psyche is sort of being less imprinted by a physical and chemical and psychological environment, and you're just in a pure spirit to spirit connection between the beings of the plane and the environments you're experiencing through your astral senses, yeah, it's going to be a little bit chiller. It's almost like, and this is going to sound a little crazy, but I think when I'm there, I don't have ADHD. I don't have all the mental stuff I've got going on there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't been there enough, but the last time, man, it's wild. I just can't believe that there's all this stuff. What's that?
The plugs in your neck are gone.
We still have the goo though. That nasty KY, pink KY. Mutagen. Like Krang used to call it. Mutagen. Yeah. fuck, man. That's a downer if there was that Matrix pod. I mean,
I'm cool.
yeah, yeah. But
Either
the DMT realm is one of a kind, man. Yeah. What do you think it is, Dennison?
Have you ever eaten pussy?
Of course.
Have you ever eaten Detroit
Have you?
style pizza? Shit, I could
Detroit. Detroit. No, I haven't.
I'm a connoisseur of vagina. But have you ever eaten Detroit style pizza?
Not to my knowledge.
Best get out there and try it.
Okay.
I'm like Cypher. I know that the Matrix is just telling me that this pepperoni is spicy and delicious. I don't care.
You don't care. Yeah, you still gotta eat it.
Ignorance is bliss.
No. Dude, like when I first started going online and doing these podcasts in 2011, I was like hanging with a crew. My mentor was this author named Aeolus Cephas, Jason Horsley. And like I remember he interviewed me for a podcast, and he ended up naming it the Cipher Syndrome. And I think it was like a backhand compliment or a backhand diss about me. Because it's like because a lot of the people in the group are very, because one of the main things they were talking about was existential psychology and stuff, and pattern recognition and identity deconstruction, which I thought it was interesting. But for me, I was like, this is interesting, but like my life's not that bad. So maybe he saw me as Cypher or whatever while they were trying to undo their personality.
Well, the truth of the Matrix for me is that Morpheus lied.
How so?
The red pill is just another system of control.
Yeah, it's the second Matrix. That's what we used to call it. It's just like we used to call it the alternative media. Remember back in the day? No, alternative research community. That was what they used to call the conspiracy theories.
Isn't alternative culture in of itself just a second smaller cage?
Yeah, it's a second Matrix.
Especially when you see it in practice. These people don't use it to free their minds. They use it to convince themselves of things like flat Earth.
True that, man. True that.
Yeah. Somebody literally, I more power to them. Like, well, I won't say that, but I appreciate their support. They came into this chat yesterday and they were like, we weren't even talking about this, dude. And he was like, I can't believe anyone still believes in flat Earth or that there's space. It's like, they're so stupid. And it's like, it's one thing if you believe it, but why does other people have to be stupid for that? That sounds so. Yet those people who kind of talk like that, they think they're like so above everyone because all there are, and they're in another system. That's probably binding them and trapping them too.
Yeah, man, we've all just got bigger fish bowls inside of our fish bowls.
I've watched this play out throughout the course of my life too, because at a very young age, I realized this reality was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of, and I'll just tell you how it happened for me. I'll never forget the day I realized that dollar had no value.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you.
I was 7 years old and I was looking at the back of the dollar. And then I went to the library to research it, and figured out where it came from. And I was like, holy shit, this whole thing is a scam. And I went outside and I was looking at, there was a hot dog vendor. There was a Best Buy, a Blockbuster Video. And I was just looking at all these people engaged in commerce. And then I realized even the library was commercial, and so are our schools. And the dollar is fake. It has no intrinsic value whatsoever. And the stories you're told as a child about what we value are also false. It's just another system of control, brainwashing, programming in order to get you to go along. And I remember, wanting to wake other people up. And it took a lifetime to learn that, and watching people become more awake with the internet getting popular and the system starting to rot and decay and collapse in on itself. A lot of people are not made to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
When you teach them that everything they've ever learned is a lie, they don't get smarter. They just
Yeah.
go completely insane, and then they don't believe anything.
Oh, that's the one. Everything's a conspiracy. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then that's untenable. So they start to create their own system of beliefs, and it's based on less facts and data than the system. Like at least
Yeah.
and the news used to make an effort to convince you. These people believe things on zero evidence. Why?
Yeah.
Because first they engage in binary thinking, and then they find what they believe to be the polar opposite of the lie to be, and that's logically the truth to them. And that's just not how reality works. Like people who always assume the government is lying to them are still fucking up. You're fucking
Mhm.
up then, because you're making an assumption. So now all I have to do to control you is tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
you can be
automatically
having.
going to assume it's a lie, and you're going to disregard it and put yourself at a disadvantage. So
Yeah, like there could be an avalanche coming down for your house. You're at the foothills, but because your local like government said, or even your national news said, like, "Hey, be careful," there's no, excuse me, lava. It's pouring down. I'm not gonna believe it just because the government said it. It's so stupid. But
right.
But back to what you said, like you can manipulate people by the truth. That's crazy because it's so cringe. Like and also disheartening when there are some really bad conspiracies that are probably real out there. Yet some people who they think that everything is a conspiracy without even any receipts. They disregard those ones that we really need to be, or some of us should be mindful of. They kind of they disrespect that shit.
Right. And if I'm the government and your philosophy is to disregard everything I say and to assume everything I say is a lie,
Mhm.
all I have to do to totally misinform you is just tell you the truth.
Well,
simple.
Yeah. I've noticed though, a lot of those people that act in that mode, and maybe at times when I have too, they haven't been that active, and maybe they didn't have much going for them. They don't have to go out and work a job or interact with their family or actually have real friends, like flesh friends. Like
Well, I'm not too impressed by people who are too distracted in order to be, what's the word, neurotic.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying that if you do have a job, for example, rather than staying in never interacting with anybody except all the conspiracies and stuff that you browse and skim through, that I don't know, maybe you don't have a chance to see some of the stuff that the news is saying is true.
What I would encourage people to do is to make themselves unemployable, and rather than go get a job, actually experience the world. Actually go outside and actually travel and actually meet new people. And don't meet them in the corporate environment.
Yeah.
Meet them in nature.
Yeah.
Meet them in their homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember when I used to clock out, I used to run to my car most days. I just want to get out of there. I never really understood like when people would have lunch, they have their lunch break and they would all sit and have lunch together at at the Starbucks that's connected on, or in the break room. It's like, dude, can't you guys get enough of each other? I needed that. To get bigger back full circle. I also need socially. I need that reset. like dreams do, right? I need a reset of my own time in solitude, at least for an hour, you know, in order to be able to be social again for the following 4 hours after that. Yeah.
It got dangerous for me once I had a career because then I actually liked my job,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was easy to pour my entire life into it.
Yeah. Not enough days in that. Like as when I punched in, I was counting the hours when I leave. For someone that has a career like yourself, it's like there's not enough time in the day to get what you need to be done, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes, right?
it
Yeah, it's
changed
opposite thinking.
it changed my life. I went from like you're saying, watching the clock, putting your stuff away at 4:59,
Mm-hmm.
and that's only because someone's watching. If no one was watching,
hour before you would have done it.
yeah, I'd leave at 12 and never come back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what it got like at the end of my career too.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to take a shit, I wasn't gonna go use the filthy fucking bathroom in the office.
Gonna go home or something.
I just drive home and take a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if I didn't feel like coming back to work, I just didn't go back to work.
That's my brother-in-law does that. He has a situation like that. He's in the corporate. He's the head of their IT department.
That's what
he does.
Yeah.
Oh, he used to. He moved now. He has a house now, but yeah.
In IT, you can do that, and I got away with it until my cooperative attitude changed, right? Until like the first time I said I wasn't going to do somebody else's job for free, they started plotting on how to fire me.
Yeah, I noticed that about Michael. He's always doing all this stuff. I'm like, I thought you do IT. He's doing everything. He's like the utility player on the baseball team.
Yeah,
they got him
and
doing
when you're
everything.
like that, you make yourself indisposable.
Yeah.
Right. Now, at the same time, though, they're going to take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to compensate you financially.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of guile, craftiness, and work in order to turn it into a privilege-based system. Like I said, if I just didn't feel like going to work, I just didn't go.
Yeah.
And no one said anything because I got more work done than any other person in the entire company.
Right.
When that's measurable, that can get you privileges.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to wonder about like why he does, like he's able to like sometimes, because we live in different cities and he's still able to hook up with us. His sister's my wife. Like at certain times he'd be like, don't worry about it. Like, I already put in this many hours. If they really need me, they'll call me and I'll go. But like, yeah. That makes sense. But he's frustrated too, though. I talked to him about the frustrations, kind of like what you were saying too, in the sense that like he's kind of like in limbo in a sense. Even though they value him, they definitely take advantage of him.
Right, and that's how I got fired.
Yeah.
Is because I stopped letting them take advantage of me, and then they're like, well, I mean, what fucking good are you then? You don't show up to work, you take 3-hour-long lunches, you go take a shit at your house, you go have a lunch at your house. Sometimes you don't even show up for meetings. It's like, and it didn't matter that I was still awesome at my job.
Mm-hmm.
It was that they couldn't make me do other people's job for free anymore. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. They didn't even really pay attention or care about the other stuff. Like the only reason they even noticed that I didn't show up is because it makes it harder to enforce for the other dum-dums that they want in the office all the time.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, he looks like, hey, why is he doing that? Why is Dennison doing that?
Exactly.
Yeah, but because you ain't the same person and not everyone's equal. They don't get that.
Yeah, there's no such thing as equality. Yeah.
Right. I think the biggest flex though is taking a shit at your house. That's a flex.
but I could tell as soon as my boss asked me to jump in and do somebody else's job, I always just said yes and just did it. Did it faster than them, did it better for them, got better customer reviews. But the first time I said no, I got my own work to do, that was it. The
Dude,
whole
that's shameful, man.
the atmosphere changed from that day forward. Even
Yeah.
my coworkers changed because even though they didn't know I was about to get fired, the middle management did. So they started making changes in the structure and in the environment that even my coworkers were impacted by. So my relationship with everybody in the entire company changed overnight after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine I'm trying to imagine you're like, excuse me, I gotta do my work and you get penalized for that. That's
And that's the same story from the job that I worked right before that. It was just a more hostile environment. So my boss asked me to go fix a network for uh, a company that was not related to us in any way. The only relation was it was his friend's company. And so he was like using me like an asset, right? Like now I'm not just your systems engineer that you pay $80,000 a year. I'm also the guy that you can just send over to your buddy's house to fucking reboot his modem because his shit doesn't work. Like you can send me to go do favors.
Yeah.
And the reason why I climbed the corporate ladder in that environment is because I never even questioned it. But the
Yeah.
one day that I did, and I'll tell you exactly how I questioned it, verbatim, word for word, I said, "How much does that pay?" That's it. That's all I said. And that set him off. He was screaming. And I was fired within 5 days.
Yeah.
After working there for 12 years.
Whoa, you missed that part. Damn. That's
Over
something
11
to do.
years I worked there, and the first time I was like, "So does that come with extra pay?" Done within a week. No, after you experience something like that, there's no lecture anybody can give you about responsibility or teamwork or cooperation. You see very starkly in black and white exactly what it is that you're involved in, which is exploitation. He felt like he owned me because he paid me, and he did not pay very well.
Is he still there, you think?
No, that company got raided by the FBI, and all the servers that I built with my own hands got confiscated by the government.
Wow. Raided. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raid?
What was it? Not embezzlement, I
Sponsored
think?
by Raid Shadow Legends.
I think it was embezzlement. Like he was taking all of the
They're
money
taking
from
money, huh?
he was
Yeah.
taking all the money from the successful companies and he was pouring them into his failures. And the beautiful part about it was the successful companies were the ones that I was running the IT departments for, and the failure was some stupid company his wife started. And it's just like the nepotism
Yeah.
ultimately destroyed him. And I don't. There's a certain poetic justice to that.
Yeah.
The problem with America, though, is that I'm sure he has another business now,
Right.
and he's making a lot more money than I am.
Yeah. By doing the same things to people.
Yeah, he just found some other grift.
Yeah. Now that's the true grifter, not like how it's overly used in these spaces. It's when you do scammy things, but you move on and do more scammy things, and move on and do more scammy things. Yeah.
So the next boss got me to work for him by appealing to my past experiences, and he didn't know. I didn't tell him, but he knew how to mark people, right? Like his whole spiel was, "Hey, here we're all about work-life balance, and your
Mm-hmm.
personal time and your family time is much more important than work. We want you to work to live, not live to work." And we're this, that, and the other thing.
Sounds
And
like West Coast shit.
he talked about fairness and compensation and shareholding, but it was all bullshit. He was just another fucking lying egomaniac, uh, driven just by profit, and none of the promises he made came true. So after like 3 years of that, I was jaded and done with his bullshit, and I just stopped listening to him and doing anything he said.
So you had no balance, family. They didn't prioritize that. That was all lip service.
Fuck no. As soon as I started prioritizing my personal life is when I started getting oh, you haven't
The
showed up
pushback.
to, yeah, you haven't really showed up to these meetings, and you know, could you maybe take on some of these additional responsibilities? And I made a mistake too, because there's something really wrong with me. I had like a employee review with the owner of the company, like I don't know what you would call it. It's kind of like a review, and I just kept telling myself, no matter what you do, don't tell him the truth. Just
Mm-hmm.
It's very
I'm
easy.
thinking Office Space.
He's gonna
The two
ask
Bobs.
exactly. He's gonna ask these 3 to 5 questions, and these are the 3 to 5 answers you need to give him, and you're gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got in there, I could not lie. I just couldn't. So he asked me, like, where do you see yourself in the company in 5 years? And I said, honestly, I see myself trading for a living and retired from IT.
Mm.
And then he was like,
Poor cat.
where do you want to which is what ended up happening, which is kind of
Right.
fucking fearsome. Uh, and he asked me, like, what's your career focus? And I threw a little back of the speech he gave me 3.5 years earlier when he hired me, and I was like, actually, I really want to double down on my personal time and make work less of a priority, and really focus on my own health, my physical and emotional well-being. And that's where I kind of want to shift my focus to. And you could just see the reaction on his face, right? Like, that's what he preached to me, but it was utter bullshit. Because when I told him that I wanted to prioritize my life over his company, all the fucks and fakery just drained from his face, and he couldn't hide the cold disappointment. And I was fired within 8 days of that conversation.
Because honesty gets you.
I couldn't help myself. You can imagine what it's like to psych yourself up to lie and to give the correct answers, and then in the moment you're like, I'd rather be fired right here and now than to fucking fake this bullshit one goddamn second longer.
Yeah.
Damn, that's rough, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting late out here. I'm gonna probably hop off stream.
All right, Mr. Cryo. Glad you got
See
a
you
chance to
around,
build
man.
with us. Yeah. It's
for real.
Mr. Dennison, Mr. Cryo. Yeah.
Peace out.
Well, peace. Yeah. Cryo's a good dude. What you said, the only thing I can compare to that is like in terms of a relationship, I had a long-term relationship and getting out of it. Ended up being like roommates and stuff, basically. Many years. Yeah, and then what happened was it's like it came to that moment where I couldn't lie anymore. And we were getting along for sure, but it's like it just felt dead, dude. Like no electric life in there. And instead of lying, because I was just like, you know what? It's not working, man. I mean, let's be honest. It's we're not in love with each other. We don't even like really like each other that much. What are we doing together? And it was like, and she was so shocked, even though she knew, like you said, like her face changed, even though we knew for like we were together almost 10 years. She knew by her look on her face, like she knew I was right, but and and then everything it just changed, man. And that was it, man. I mean, I probably she probably would have still kept. She probably would have still want to be with me, but I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. So I left. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I lost half my friends and the woman I was with at the same time too.
Wow. Half. They had to choose, huh?
Just most
They felt
people are from work, right? That you see
right.
every day. So those are follow. 80% of those friends fell away. I was surprised at the last shop though. There was a couple who actually kept in touch afterwards, and I was like, cool, because that demonstrated some kind of real bond.
Yeah.
And it was no mistake that it was the same people that I would like the conversation I'm having with you right now. I'd rather be the conversation I'm having with them while I was still employed.
Yeah.
That I would talk about trading with,
Yeah.
But the woman though, one side was unemployed, my value was gone, and she didn't want to hear about stock trading either. She, to give her credit, her first reaction was not that bad, and she was like, "Yeah, so let's do this. Let's work on your resume." And as I was always helping her with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "Hey, let me, give it back to you. Let's work on your resume and
But
do
you weren't
some
trying to do
marketing."
that, even though it was helpful.
Yeah,
But that's nice of her. The
I was
thought.
like, I don't really think I want another job. And she was like, "What? What do you mean?"
Her face changed. Her face changed. Yeah. What do you mean? You don't want a job? I can't have security? Well, I get it why women are like that though, but it's like, come on, bro, have some faith in your boy, man.
And the fucked up part was, I recently helped her get a 6-figure job. I told her what to put on her resume. I told her what to say to the interviewers. I coached her through the whole thing, and so technically, she could have taken care of both of us very easily.
Yeah, while you got on your feet with your new venture, huh? Your new
career. Or if not, whatever I decided.
If not, yeah. Yeah.
But
that was it after that though.
Once
you
I
realized
told
you
her,
don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, we kind of, the carcass of the relationship existed after that, but that was definitely it. It was a clear. Women are attracted to ambition,
For sure.
And I flat out told her, not in so many words, that I just didn't have any anymore. And I was not interested in regaining it either, that it was antithetical to my philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's and it's a little similar. Yeah. That was that woman I was talking about when I told you my ex worked for she had a 6-figure job. She ended up I saw her start from like when we first met for like 50,000 and kept every couple of years leveling up until she was 6 figures.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, nah, man, I can't do this no more. But you know what was weird though? It's like I ended up having a better relationship with her because she had a big family, and we spent a lot of time with them on the weekends and stuff, like the party house kind of house, and like even though we lived together, like I miss them. To this day, I miss certain things about them because they're really good people and stuff. So I didn't necessarily lose friends per se, but I like a lot of her family, the cousins, her mom, her stepdad was cool, like all that shit. But yeah, it is what it is. I wouldn't be here today though.
I realized I didn't really like her or her friends or anybody at all. She just had kind of a perfect body.
This is very important. I think that's very important. But it ain't the end all be all though. It can't be.
I was just telling myself that I liked her. She had an excellent sense of humor for a woman too. Like, so that helped.
Yeah.
She could always make me laugh.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really respect her or like her, and I didn't know,
Yeah.
because that's just not the way my brain works. Like, if I see a perfect set of titties and a fat ass, I think you're the greatest person on earth.
Yeah, you just have to be somewhat decent, huh? With your mindset. That like says a lot. Yeah.
She could have been a bank robber. I probably would have justified it.
Oh shit. Like
Then again, I
that
don't really
good.
have any respect for banks, so there's that. That might be a turn on now that I think about it.
So what do you hate? We can say what's a job that normally you would hate someone to have that you associate with?
Well, she was in sales and marketing, so there you
Oh,
go. Like
marketing.
right there, that tells you everything right
Marketing, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So, I had no.
Dude, I heard I was watching this video, one of those, all those bro videos where they go out to the party spot and they film people, like ask them sexual questions, the girls, the thoughts. And there's one girl was like, she's like, "Why are you filming me? Why are you filming me? You can't film me. I'm in marketing. I'm in marketing. I signed non-disclosure agreements for my company.
What does
I'm
that
in
even
marketing." People say I'm in marketing. It's like, what is that, dude? I get it. Like, you don't want to compromise your job, but she keeps saying I'm in marketing. Holy shit. Okay, Edward Bernays Jr. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, do you think that your ex has kids now or family? You know,
I don't
other?
know. I don't
You don't
know.
know?
I doubt it,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Were you with her for a while or what?
That particular relationship was about 2.5 years.
Okay, that's long enough. That's long.
And
Yeah.
then and the first 4 to 6 months was like
Yeah.
honeymoon phase,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
where we did everything together and were really into
Mm-hmm.
each other and had sex like 3 times a day. And
Yeah.
then it kind of changed into like a friendship with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it just there was just nothing left between us at the
Yeah.
end. Except
It creeps
sex.
up on you. Yeah. At least you had that. Some people don't even have that.
Well, that started to become few and far between because we're not really into each other.
Yeah. And you can get that starfish sex. Not fun.
Oh Jesus! I'm glad that did not happen. I've only
Yeah.
I've only experienced that one time in my life, and it was with a girl who was just like that all the time.
That's just their way of modality, huh?
Yeah,
Default. Yeah.
I noticed it right away, and that did not last very long.
Yeah. Gotta do more, maybe.
And in retrospection, I think there was like an animal under there. She just didn't want to let it loose.
That's what I think most of the time, bro. When these women they go, or these dudes they go, my girlfriend or my wife, she's asexual, whatever. I said, no, bro, she's just not into you at the moment. Like, that's come on, man. I think most people are. I'm not gonna say everybody generalize, but
that was the first time I ever faked it. It was the first time I ever faked an orgasm. Was the first time I thought about somebody else while I was having sex.
You go, it's
she gave blowjobs with teeth too.
That's sacrilegious. Well, I'm not gonna generalize again. There's probably probably 2% of men like that with the teeth, but the majority of them don't.
Like the scraping.
Like the scrape. There's weird. There's people that like their balls stepped on by stiletto heels. So I don't. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
but
not,
I put those people in the same category of people who eat their poop, though.
Okay, that's disgusting.
Like
2
that's
girls, 1 cup. Yeah,
that was ice cream.
It looked like
soft
it.
serve ice cream.
Yeah, those girls were beautiful, though. That's pure Satanism when you take something beautiful and desecrate it. Oh my god. Yeah.
It came out later that it was faked. I think.
So it was really ice cream.
I believe so. I think I
But that makes me
remember
feel better because I
hearing
don't.
about that all these
How
years
the
later.
hell can you not gag at all off that? You
Well,
know, from their point of view.
here's why I believe it, because even though that fetish exists,
Hmm.
you can't pay somebody to do it. You have to be
Oh, they have to be into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
can't
you're
just
right.
hold your nose and bear your way through it.
Especially that amount, huh?
Bruh.
Yeah, yeah. Good point, man. We're gonna end on the 2 girls, 1 cup logic. Oh shit, man. Oh yeah.
So what is the
Yo,
world
but
predictions, man? Like what does
this
astrology tell us? How can I make money off of this? What's the stock market gonna do next week?
here, you could probably get more. You could probably get more out of it if you actually watch the video. What we were reviewing, the woman, what she was saying. But I don't even know, bro. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. You know, like there's wars coming.
Just hear it on
She
your
was
chart,
giving
it's
dates.
fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, like Chris Rock, Scorpio, you're gonna die. Capricorn, you're gonna die. No sex in this champagne room, man. Yeah, and yeah, it's just like the Vedic astrologer woman, not Ahimsa, but the woman we were looking at the tape. She was breaking down in the next like 2 years. What she sees on the line with war with Russia. Basically, war with Russia is going to intensify. U.S. is going to sit the sideline like they've been doing, and then European Union's going to galvanize, and there's going to be some stuff going on in Poland. So it's basically they just put a blanket over of astrology, augmented over geopolitical stuff that a lot of us already know. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be an astrologer to know the world's fucked, basically.
No, it just made it more like kind of like more attractive for those of us who do like astrology to hear some of the correspondence, because that video was done like back in March, and some of the stuff she was saying, particularly in the beginning, have come to pass, especially with the recent with the India Pakistan stuff. Yeah,
She predicted that.
Yeah, she predicted that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, what
that
did
was
she
that
say
was pretty fire. She said that there would be an event that would around in May, in the end of April, mid May, where Pakistan and India would be. What's the word she used? She didn't say dancing with nuclear war. She said something. Nuclear war could be a big thing. Could be a big issue between those two countries. Yeah. So. Yeah. Even though there's been stuff with the Kashmir, as we know, for many, many years. Shout out to Led Zeppelin. But yeah, that was very disturbing. The video. Do you see the video where the guy was on the zip line?
No, I haven't.
And all those people, and all those people were getting murdered below him, and then he was like just doing a selfie. Yeah, it's insane.
I've been
man.
unplugged from the news for a while.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I was not like, it was fun, but I was not looking forward to, like, when I was pre-gaming the video. It's like, oh man, such downer shit. Because what I do with astrology, I like to do it like personally in good ways that can help with my self development, things to look at, parts of my my chart, which is basically your personality. Maybe one could look at, but the world stuff, man, world's so fucked up place. If you only look at it as countries and stuff. But like in my personal life, pretty gravy. There's a lot of good stuff going on. So, but yeah, I can see why one would want to unplug from geopolitical stuff.
Yeah, I heard about India and Pakistan, and it's just like, another Tuesday then. Like they've been
exactly
fighting over that shit for as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
Same thing
Which is
with
weird
the
because they're brothers.
Palestine conflict.
Yeah.
Everybody's, it's the end of the world, or some people are like,
no,
Palestine will finally be free, or like, dude, this is fucking Tuesday.
And that's what she said. Something that we already know. The world's just going to get, these conflicts are going to get more and more divisive. It's going to be more divisiveness. Yeah, we see that. Like, that, and then Taiwan, China. But with that said, with everything they pump in the West about Taiwan and China, bro, this has been going on since the 10 years I've been living here, and it's been going on since 1949. Man. It's just that we have our news cycles are instantaneously now. So that's the only difference, man.
There's some like it could be the boomers. It's probably the boomers. You know, they still make up a majority of the population. I think
Mm-hmm.
the newest generation is about to exceed them, but they're still technically. And then even then, the newest generation, even if there were more of them, it wouldn't have the same cultural impact
As the
as
boomers.
right? Because they've been the majority for fucking decades
So
now.
long.
Yeah.
So you're saying that
That's their
the new generation
mentality.
is gonna ride their coattails, their system?
I hope not. I hope they'll overturn it.
Yeah.
You know, if past is prologue, yeah, we're just gonna keep
Uh-huh.
riding it until the wheels fall off. But I am encouraged somewhat by this younger generation. As much as people like to shame them for being lazy and irresponsible, that's not how I see it.
Yeah.
I see them recognizing that they were born into a system with a dick in their ass, and it's not something to praise or be proud of or to contribute to. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
there's an inherent pride in paying your bills and paying your taxes and keeping a roof over your head and putting food on the table. And I get that, but that's been exploited, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not a time to accept what you're given. This is all of this is unfucking acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the more people that do that, even though like I'm playing around that boomer system to a certain extent, like the more people that actually live it, it's not acceptable, is the more it will have an opportunity to change because there won't be any other options if more people
Yeah.
do that.
I hope
Yeah.
these young people will quit their jobs, move to the country, and grow their own food. That's what I'm hoping for.
Right. Right. Yeah, I've seen in the panel work a couple people talk about their chicken coops and stuff and living off of it. So that's more of that type of shit, man.
People deciding to live in vans, people living in storage containers, you know.
Yeah, that one.
The
That part.
advent of tiny homes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But they'll say, "Oh, that's this Klaus Schwab and the boys pushing their shit." No, man, they're talking about commune, like fucking dormitories. A tiny home is cool, man. You don't need that much. You don't
Yeah,
need
if
that much.
you can break away from, you know, the Koch brothers and their agenda by
Mhm.
moving to the country and growing your own food, like that is
Yeah.
it. There may be some truth in that. Corporate America will always be trying to get you to be happier with less.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have no income and no job and I have a simpler way of life that's less frivolous, that is not playing into the hands of the corporations. That's proving that you don't need them.
Right. Right. That's the biggest fucking protest, ignoring them.
My ultimate goal is to get to where I don't need the internet anymore.
Holy shit. This is someone that's been doing the shit for fucking 30 years or something, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Really only 5, bro. Now,
Mm.
I would say I'm in my mid 40s.
I'm talking about internet. I'm talking about internet. You with your relationship with the internet.
Oh
That's what
shit!
I'm
I've
talking
been on
about.
the internet
Not trading. Yeah.
for 38 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at when you first said that, when you said about like I want to do without it, that's the goal. First thing I looked at, turned left to my big bookshelf. Like and then look at my art stuff on the table over here. Like, yeah, there is a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, and I have a lot of
Yeah.
reading to catch up on.
Yeah.
Now, that's not
Yeah.
to say that I won't use the internet. I just don't want to be dependent on it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
right now I make my living off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be able to survive if I didn't have connectivity, and I have to have significant connectivity. Like I can't
Yeah.
just use any old connection. I need
Right.
broad-
High
I need
speed.
broadband. Yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, I
Yep.
can't do what I do.
Yeah.
And so when I get to a position where that's no longer the case, then that's what we'll consider like success.
And that, my friends, is the astrology world prediction. When Dennison does that in 2027, when he gets that shit done, yeah, it's doable. Yeah, just like you said, your narrative where you said, when they're the two Bobs were talking to you metaphorically about like what do you see yourself? You said trading, right? And look at you now, man. Been doing it.
Retired and trading
Yeah,
for a living.
yeah. You've been doing it. That goes to what we were talking about, what I was supposed to talk about, but Dimitri showed Netherlands, my friend, he overslept because of that 7-hour time zone different. We were talking about the imagination and Neville Goddard and his thoughts about like how your imagination definitely how you prompt, using the AI term, because we're talking about AI too. How your prompt, your imagination prompt will make up your days to come.
I
If
had
you're
a
already in that
lost
mindset, that's it.
I had
Yeah.
a like a lost period in my life where I didn't there was no agency to my accomplishments.
Hmm.
So I went from being a child that tried to manifest everything in the world the way I wanted it to being a corporate employee that definitely didn't go along to get along, but there was no me there.
Yeah.
I was just employee number 84765, and I made employee of the month every month, and and I had the respect, admiration, and praise of my peers, but I just wasn't a person. And it wasn't in my 40s. I just had like a life change, late 30s, early 40s, and I just started trying to manifest things that I actually wanted that would make me happy. And I was
Hmm.
done trying to please everybody else in the world.
Mm.
And I remembered that I had that power. Like I told him I would accomplish it in 5 years, and I accomplished it in 3.
Hmm.
And that was just because I had a vision. It was um, ambitious but reasonable. Because I don't have delusions of grandeur, and I set my mind to it, and I treated trading like a job. Like I would just sit there
Hmm.
for the entire time the market was open, and just that's all I did was trading,
Mm.
and 8 hours a day, every single day, at least.
Yeah.
And so I learned it just like I learned anything else.
Yeah.
And the biggest part of it though was lifestyle. I went from having like a 3-bedroom house on the top of a hill in an expensive neighborhood to renting a room from somebody like from a friend of mine who's out of the country most of the time.
Hmm.
Now, so I kind of have a whole house to myself and the property to myself, but it's at the cost of renting a single room. And I'm not driving around spending gas. I'm not
Hmm.
eating out steak dinners every day,
Yeah.
tipping waitresses 100%. So that was the biggest part of the success was now I'm able to have a lot more peace of mind for a lot less money every month through a change in lifestyle. And I consume less. I'm a less of a burden on society and the earth as well. I'm a lot less wasteful
Mm-hmm.
and more resourceful, and I feel like I'm in the infant stages. I'm not even a toddler yet. I hope to get way better. I'd love to reach a point where 51% of my food is from my own hands.
Yeah, that's definitely very treading lightly, as I say. On a place that's actually most people stress to the max. Like a peace of mind is priceless, huh?
Yeah. It's for me anyway. Everybody's built differently, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what I equate to joy and ecstasy. Is just sitting outside when the sun rises and feeling the sun hit your face and knowing like there's nothing else really that matters.
Yeah, it's I witnessed that. Speaking of Taoism, like my dog Winston, rest in peace. He used to do that all the time. Promoting Taiwanese dog, he would just sit in our backyard with the sun and just look at it with his ears back and his nose smelling, just in peace. Ain't nothing like taking a little nap in the warm sun.
You think he's worried about paying his taxes or
no,
whether or not his boss is going to fire him or
good old Winston.
If his girlfriend's cheating on him? Like none of it. He's not worried about any of that.
See when his girlfriend's right there. That's Winston right there. Shout out to Winston. Rest in peace. I love you, son. And Fin, my special girl. Yeah, they teach us how to live, man. In a sense, live in the moment, enjoy yourself. Yeah. You know what's funny? The only stress, because you can see his eyes, he did stress. And the more I think about it, the times he stressed the most probably when he was reading me.
Oh yeah.
That's that trip. Yeah, how we can make our dogs neurotic. That's how strong people are.
That's how neurotic we are too.
Neurotic. I'm about to say that too. Yeah. Shout out to those wonder dogs. Yeah, man. I gotta go.
I killed your audience.
I think we did it together, man. The true ones are there. Chat. Put a donation in the sky if you're still there. All right. Yeah. No, this is great, man. I feel like this cutting part of that out because we got the corporate. What's a flashy, fun title? Corporate. What else?
Corporatocracy.
Corporatocracy. Yeah, that's a really good name for what we did. What we just did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Dennison. So yeah, I'm gonna go see what the fam's doing. It's Sunday, fun day for us. And yeah.
What does that mean? You go to work tomorrow?
Yeah, I have an interesting schedule. I'm off on no, it's just daytime. It's 1:30. I'm in the future, Back to the Future, Marty McFly.
That's right. You're in a whole day ahead.
Yeah, it's 1 p.m. right now.
I keep forgetting you're in Thailand
Yeah.
or something, right?
No, Taiwan.
Oh, so you're from where they make the chips.
Exactly. That's why Cryo started off talking about the chips and stuff. Yeah.
TMC. Is TMC
That's
like
it. This is
a household name out there?
Absolutely. That my brother-in-law was telling you about. He works for a company that's affiliated with them. That's contract work with them. So he's always busy. Yeah. Shout out to Michael in the house.
What brought you out there? Taiwanese girl?
Love. Now, yeah. Well, I had met my wife in America and at the yoga studio, and then she was born out here, but she was raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So she would go back and forth. Her dad was a professor in biomedical engineering, But fast forward to when I met her, she was a nanny of au pair in the Bay Area, and I met her at the yoga studio, and then we got married, and then got those 2 dogs, and then we're busting our ass with our jobs and not getting much return with the Bay Area cost of living, and we're like, hey, let's try something new. Let's go to Taiwan. And then her mother was sick as well. Father already passed away, and her mom was really sick, and she needed some help. So we went over there and got a house, and then opened up a Mexican food restaurant for a minute, and did that thing. And then now I'm teaching, and had a son. So yeah, love, I guess, and wanted to try something new, dude. Wanted to try something new. I never lived in another country before, let alone another state. And yeah, I came out here by myself with my wife. Yeah.
That's good. I don't think our country doesn't value us anymore, so
Mm-hmm.
go where you're best valued and where you're best treated.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love my country, though. It's funny, like, not living there anymore. I see the good things for sure. I miss some things.
Like
At
what?
first, it was the weed. The weed at first. Yeah.
Is Taiwan one of those places where they cut your hands off if you smoke pot or some shit?
They won't cut your hands off here, but you'll definitely get a lot of prison time with just a joint. Yeah.
Like 10
Yeah.
or
I don't even want to find out. I remember there was okay. I'll put it this way. I'll give you this one story. There was this one American dude a couple years ago. He was growing a couple plants in his house. They found it. He went to trial, and instead of going to fucking jail, he killed himself with some scissors in the courtroom. Yeah, he didn't want to go. But the thing is, like, I think it's like maybe you would probably get a couple years being a foreigner. But the worst thing is you would get your residency revoked, and I'm not trying to do all that. I mean, I could smoke if I want to. There's expats do it here a lot. One, like, it's too expensive. Two, the quality is shit, especially if you're me coming from the Bay Area, Northern California, compared to that. And then 3, like, I ain't trying to.
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And plus, for me, it's been a really good experience for me to stop smoking, because like I love weed more than anything almost, but it just doesn't work for me. It didn't work for me in terms of getting my life together, and that's just being honest with myself, so yeah, I've been able to accomplish way more things not smoking than I have when I did smoke. Yeah, but I miss it. I love smoking. Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah, I think Thailand it's legal there, though. That's a good thing. Yeah. So let's
it's neighboring, right?
It's about 3 hours away in the plane. It used to be very strict. It's funny. It used to be very strict if you got caught with it there, but now they legalized it. So they got prostitution and weed there. Yeah. So yeah, man. I appreciate you building with me, man. As always. I got mad respect for you, Dennison. I hope you have a great night, man.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's weird, but I actually use social media to socialize, so it's good. It's good to meet, thoughtful people who
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
And it was
absolutely.
good to meet your boy too. What was his name?
Cryo from Ohio.
Yeah, certainly never. That's the first time I met somebody else who went without sleep on purpose.
Yeah. That's the other sector where I started Discord. Why I got Discord in the psychedelic sector. He's the guy I've been we've been talking and building for the last 3 or 4 years now. Yeah. He's a good dude. Yeah. We'll talk again though, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
You got pretty good topics. I probably wouldn't have come up on the astrology world prediction.
Yeah.
But when you guys talking about something else, I think it was processors or something.
Yeah, processors. That's the Taiwanese ones. That's what's funny because like I think we talked, you, Cryo, and I talked more than Oracle and I talked. So this is definitely a jam-packed episode with some great nuggets in there, and I appreciate you being letting us get to know you more because that corporation stuff, Dennison, is something like I've done a lot of stuff in my life, but that's one thing I used to think like I kind of wish I would have tried, even though I know it's kind of like probably fucked up. But hearing what your words, I'm like, I'm okay with not trying the corporate life.
Yeah. It's one thing if you're an adult, if you're over 30 and
yeah,
you know who you are and you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Or you already gave up on life, huh?
Then I would tell people, every experience is an enriching one.
Yeah.
Including my time in corporate America. I wouldn't know how much it was killing me unless I could experience both dichotomies.
Yeah.
But for the
Yeah,
most
you have
part,
that. Unlike I have the retail. I did 25 plus years retail. You had the corporate. Yeah, man. I think we got it covered, huh? This American wage slave shit going on.
Yeah, so work is good for the soul, but employment is not. That's my spiel. Don't shy away from work. Try to work as much as you can. Try to do as many different quote jobs as you can. But employment, try to avoid it at all costs. And if you can avoid it, recognize the pot that you're stewing in. That's all I would say.
There you go, Dennison. Words of wisdom. You hear that, Ben? Benjamin, my son. Yeah. Uncle Denny, man, with the words of wisdom. And I got a song for you. Tell me if you like it. I don't know if you heard me play this one before. So peace, everyone. This has been Stargazing with Dennison. Cryo from Ohio. Ahimsa Alexander, with the high-powered knowledge. And everyone in the chat, much love. Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Dennison.
Thank you.